happen to you or when it will happen. So I created an easy process to make it pain-free and fast to create the proper estate planning documents for you. My process usually takes 7 to 10 days from start to finish. Ready to get started? Then call me, Attorney John D'Onofrio, 412-928-2068, and schedule your free initial estate planning appointment today. Allow me to meet with you in my law office or in the comfort and privacy of your home and provide you with your free consultation. Again, telephones are answered 24/7. Call today. Get peace of mind today. 412-928-2068.
The preceding program was pre-recorded.
The proceeding was paid for by D'Onofrio Law Office, PC. Information on the program was intended to solely further the public's general knowledge about the product. Opinions expressed should not be relied upon for any purpose by any member of the audience. News Radio KDKA does not guarantee the accuracy of any of the information heard in the preceding program.
Only 1 in 5 people with disabilities, including those with autism, are employed, despite many having the skill set and desire to work.
Maybe it's because employers don't know what kind of jobs they can do?
Okay, try me.
What about a programmer?
That is a job for someone with autism.
What about a teacher?
That is a job for someone with autism.
Oh, how about a healthcare worker?
Yes, those are all jobs for someone with autism. The truth is, qualified people with autism can do a lot of different jobs, but often get overlooked due to outdated stigmas and beliefs. Businesses value diversity, but sometimes don't recognize the unique strengths and abilities of the autism community. Introducing WIN, the Workplace Inclusion Now program by Autism Speaks. We help businesses lead the way in inclusive hiring.
Ooh, what about a ranch hand?
Yeah! Sure, that's a job for someone with autism too. To learn more, go to autismspeaks.org/win. That's autismspeaks.org/win.
You wanted to be cool, which led you to smoking, which led to a pack a day. Then you met that special someone, which led to starting a life with them, which led to wanting to live longer, which led to quitting. Then you heard you may be at risk for lung cancer, which led you to getting a low-dose CT scan. If you smoked, get scanned. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Heather Bosch. The government shutdown, now in its 40th day, will have a broad impact on the U.S. economy. That's what Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is telling ABC News.
We had a fantastic economy under President Trump the past 2 quarters, and now there are estimates that the economic growth for this quarter could be cut by as much as half if the shutdown continues.
Maryland Governor Wes Moore is blaming President Trump's policies for the nation's woes. He tells CBS's Face the Nation.
I want the government reopened now. There is no state that is dealing with more of an impact from this than the state of Maryland. We have over 260,000 federal workers within our state, that even before the shutdown, Donald Trump had fired over 15,000 Maryland workers, federal workers, more than any other state in this country.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy is explaining why he's reducing capacity at major U.S. airports, prompting thousands of canceled flights. With air traffic controllers calling in sick or retiring rather than work without pay during the shutdown.
We see an increase in a loss of separation. Airplanes are in the sky. They're becoming too close to each other. They're breaching that safety distance. Number one, we see ground incursions. We also see more complaints from pilots that are saying, hey, I'm getting a lack of responsiveness from the controller, or the controller seems stressed.
He tells Fox News that's potentially dangerous. BBC Director Tim Davie and CEO Deborah Turnus have resigned after criticism over the way a speech by President Trump was edited for a documentary. The BBC's Noor Nanji read Turnus's resignation letter.
She says that the ongoing controversy around the panorama on President Donald Trump, has reached a stage where it is causing damage to the BBC, which is an institution that she says she loves. And she says that as CEO of BBC News, the buck stops with me. And so therefore she has taken this difficult decision.
Frigid temperatures have gripped parts of the central U.S. as a polar vortex pushes in from Canada. Meteorologist Andrew Kozak.
We are seeing winds that could gust 40 to 50 miles per hour. That is also creating some moderate to heavy lake effect snow downwind of the lakes. But we are likely going to see, as things pick up, 1 to 3 inches fall per hour in a couple of areas.
Longtime NFL Commissioner Paul Tagliabue has died.
I'm proud and grateful to have played a small part in shaping the evolution of the National Football League in the last 4 decades.
Paul Tagliabue was 84 years old. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive. See why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive to stay protected on the road. See for yourself at Progressive.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Scientists say they've created a blood test for diagnosing chronic fatigue syndrome.
Over 20 million people worldwide suffer from chronic fatigue syndrome, a highly debilitating neurological disorder. It's tough to diagnose, but now a promising blood test has great accuracy. Alexander Okolachev is Chief Science Officer with Oxford Biodynamics.
We are able to demonstrate 95% accuracy.
The goal?
To be able to give people a definitive, quick answer, whether they have chronic fatigue syndrome or whether they have something very different.
It's hoped the test can also suggest new treatment strategies based on markers in the blood. Brad Gibson for CBS News, Carcassonne, France.
A new study shows pregnant women exposed to wildfire smoke had a higher risk of preterm birth. Researchers suggest inhaled smoke particles entering a woman's bloodstream might interfere with the placenta's development. Pregnant women are urged to check the air quality and take precautions. I'm Heather Bosch, CBS News.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
This afternoon, mostly cloudy, a couple of showers, high 52. Snow showers overnight tonight, low 30. More for tomorrow, high 35. Partly sunny, +3, 36 on Tuesday. For AccuWeather, I'm Bill Dagger, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's
Lenny McAllister.
The way we bring back America and bring people together is by making sure we hold everybody accountable in a 360 fashion.
Yes, there is a change that we can believe in, but it will never come from a politician or a government program.
Lenny McAllister. Well spoken.
We got to move away from the American Idol soundbite nature of politics back to the American statesman of humble servant leadership that we used to see in politics.
If we get some common sense governance from both sides of the aisle, we can finally get Americans through the recession, not just Wall Street.
Principles of politics. I'd rather have principles. I speak to the kids in the street. Well, I'm never going to lay down being a conservative just as much as I'll never lay down being a proud African American.
I feel like a black Republic. Money I got coming in. Can't turn my back on the hood. I got love for them.
And for those of you that cashed in your, I need me a little bit more Lenny McAllister in my life. And I know there's not a whole lot of you out there that actually would cash in said coupon, certificate, or anything else along those lines. I don't know if anybody would actually consider me a gift for me to be part of a gift certificate exchange. But if there were a person that would actually say that, that person would have cashed that in today. Because lo and behold, I'm here longer than 3 hours. I'm here 4 hours. I am doing ye old 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, you got your hour back. Don't look for it here, Buster. But you can look for the phone lines to be open, 866-391-1020. You and I, Lenny McAllister, 2 to 6 before ye old Pittsburgh Steelers, established 1933, play tonight on some station I'm not allowed to name. But that's it. Phone lines will be open, 866-391-1020. And as always, we have oodles and oodles and oodles to talk about. But I do want to start by giving a little shout out. I saw something, and maybe it's old. I was trying to get confirmation. I was trying to go to my sources. I was trying to work the phone lines. Not the 866-391-1020 phone line I'd be calling myself. That would be odd, a little awkward, especially when I wouldn't take my own call. I digress. That said, trying to work my sources to see if this is old news, good news. It's good news, but old news or new news. I saw that two of my former colleagues, Brian Cook, who is he's an award-winning photographer here. He works for the New Pittsburgh Courier. He's worked previously for WPXI as a freelancer on one of their cable shows on PCNC back in the day. He has worked extensively with a lot of different resources, including American Urban Radio Network, which used to be up and vibrant over the day. One of the stations that, I don't know if they're still affiliated with them anymore, but they used to be the one and only WAMO, which is, of course, part of the Odyssey family now. So that said, met Brian Cook many, many years ago. Met him when I was still living in Chicago. Then I come back here, and lo and behold, American Urban Radio Network was located here in Pittsburgh. So I had a chance to work with him, not only directly like I had been previously in Chicago, but work with him literally in person, in the flesh, work on projects together. It's fantastic. So what I learned was between him and the More of Pittsburgh, your More of Pittsburgh, the Chris Moore of The Chris Moore Show, which usually airs here from 5 to 9 on Sundays, but will not today because somebody used their gift certificate because somebody thought I was a gift, which, again, we have to talk to that one individual. But the More of Pittsburgh, Chris Moore, and Brian Cook apparently won another journalistic award. They're part of the Pittsburgh Black Media Federation, which has been a strong organization here for years that has, among other things, they have elevated the voice of African Americans, such as myself, here to give African Americans the opportunity to be on microphones and be on cameras here throughout the city of Pittsburgh. Now, one of the things I love bragging about with both of them, let's start with Brian. Brian's younger, and I'm going to start with him. He's a Central Catholic grad. He is a Pittsburgh, obviously, native, especially being a Central Catholic grad. He went to college in Western Pennsylvania. He has his roots here. He is part of Black Frat. He is a guy that gives back to the community, has been doing that for the longest time, and now has been, elevating his game with his craft all the way up to the point in time he's on the sidelines every Steeler game. For those of you that go to Steeler games, obviously you're not going to go tonight. If you go, that means you're in Los Angeles. You're listening to us on the Odyssey app. Fantastic for you, and the weather's probably much nicer. But those of you that go to home games, he's the dude, he's the black dude with the Fisher's hat on all the time. That's Brian Cook. Good dude, wonderful dude, great professional, has a fantastic phonogenic eye. Really, really, really does. One of the things I love bragging about, if anybody that follows me on Facebook, you can see some of his work. He's Golden Sky Media. And when I had my TV show on the Pittsburgh Cable News Channel, Mr. Moore had his, he had Pittsburgh Now, I had Night Talk, Get to the Point. This is years ago. Brian would come on the set and take these behind-the-scene photos that were just absolutely amazing. They were riveting. The emotions he caught. One of my favorite pictures is of the late Dr. Larry Davis of the University of Pittsburgh, who, along with the late Connie Parker, who was the former head of the NAACP here in Pittsburgh, and Norm Conti, who is still very much alive, over at Duquesne University. The three of them and I were on the air talking about police interaction in the midst of the Ferguson crisis in 2014. And the emotion from that picture. There was a tentativeness in the conversation. There were people that were passionately debating an issue. Eyes were locked. There was respect but emotion. There was passion and insight. All of that was together in this one photo that Brian Cook captured. And I saw so many photos like that. I mean, that's genuinely one of my favorite pictures of myself of all time. No, I mean, that's professionally, not personally. Personally, it's you hold your grandchild for the first time, and I plan on having more than one, but I'm certain it's going to be like that every first time with every single grandchild. Holding your children for the first time, that picture. I still remember my 16-year-old. My wife doesn't like this story. I think it's adorable. I think you'll agree with me. This might rescind the whole gift certificate. Never mind. Anyway, that said, we brought our youngest child home from the hospital, 1 day old. Put him in the bassinet. She has to walk out, use the restroom. I go to handle bottles. The now 16-year-old, who at the time was obviously 3, was so excited to have a baby brother. He picked up playing cards off the floor. Now, needless to say, they're on the floor. They're not going to be sterilized for a 1-day-old baby. And he stuck them in his brother's hands to play cards with him. And I still have that picture. That is the first picture I have of, well, it's not the first picture I have, but that is my favorite first picture of that child. Holding those 2 playing cards in his hands at a day old. Eyes half open, half shut. And his older brother was just thrilled that he had a little brother. Their mother was not very thrilled that her 1-day-old baby was holding playing cards when she came back from the restroom, which means she wasn't very happy with her husband. But again, the story's adorable, so who cares? They're healthy right now. Back to pictures, back to Brian Cook. Fantastic talent. And I commend him for his award. Now, of course, you all know about the Moore of Pittsburgh. And one of the reasons why I like talking about Mr. Moore so much, it's less about his content, because, I mean, we agree or disagree on certain issues, obviously. You all can figure out the political philosophies there. That's okay. That's America. That's how it's supposed to work. And it's not so much we're colleagues, even though that obviously helps. I like being his colleague. And this kind of ties into where I'm actually going with this. It's the fact that he was somebody who opened a door for Brian Cook and me. You know, I know some of you all don't necessarily get down with Lynn Hayes Freeland. I do. Very much so. Why? Because Lynn Hayes Freeland was somebody that was on the airwaves when I was growing up in Pittsburgh that I remember doing it with professionalism and class and grace. She was intelligent. She was good looking. She was telegenic. And she made black folks in the region proud to see her. And Mr. Moore does the same exact thing and has been doing the same exact thing since the early 80s here in this region. And so, yes, every time I get an opportunity to hat tip him, to say thank you, I love you, I appreciate you, for the person that you are and what you've done over 40 years in the region, especially when you win another award, yeah, I enjoy doing that for him. Now, again, you might call in here 866-391-1020 when he's on next week, and he may say something, and you might go, Chris, that doesn't make any sense. I'm not getting into that. That's part of the back and forth. That's part of the engagement that is talk radio. That's part of the experiment that is America. So that's fine. I don't care about that. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is, and this will actually tie into what I'm going to do at the bottom of the hour, I'm going to talk to an author about his book, The First, the Few, and the Only. Chris Moore was that in Pittsburgh for a second. He was one of the few. He wasn't the only, but at one point in time, him and Lynn Hayes Freeland, who you used to be able to hear both here on News Radio KDKA, were the onlys that had television talk shows. And for those of you that might say, there's probably two things going through your mind. Number one, that's no big deal. Number two, it's ain't Black History Month. Why are you doing that? If you're thinking the second one, there's something wrong with you. Black history is every day, not just February. I digress. Black history is American history. Double digressing. Actually, I might be quadruple digressing in this segment. I think there's a rule against that. Anyhow, it matters. Is a difference between reporting the news and giving an opinion. There's a difference between reporting the news and analyzing facts, figures, news, events, being proactive to get ahead of a situation, to be part of the solution or part of the problem, depending on how you want to use that superpower. A little bit of a hat tip to my new theme. Quint. Digressing. I am getting good at this. That said, I enjoy giving those shout-outs because more often than not, they don't get them. And in 2025, it's almost as if we're not allowed to give them. Trailblazers, regardless if you're black, white, male, female, Muslim, as we have seen in New York City. And we'll talk about that too. There's something to be said about that. There's something to be said about, in America, we're good enough to overcome what we thought we couldn't overcome. And as a result, we have more promise as a nation than we thought we had. And me just seeing these two win more awards and break more barriers and just make more people proud, I just had to shout them out and say thank you. When I come back from the break, I'm going to kind of tie this into talking to Michael Thornhill, local author of the book, The First, The Few, and The Only. Tie into that. We'll talk to him at the bottom of the hour. And then at 3 o'clock, I'll get into a little post-Tuesday analysis. I did that with Rob Pratt. I'll do that with you here on News Radio KDKA.
When you need to talk, we're here for you. Always have been. News Radio KDKA.
Hi, folks. I'm with our good friend John Diagardi from Rome Monument. John, you were telling me earlier that people really should not rush into choosing a memorial for their loved one. Now, why is that?
We found that families need to take ample time to grieve first. Grief is not something that we get over, but rather something that we learn to live with. So the length of time to grieve varies from person to person.
You mentioned that the monument can't be placed right away.
That's right. There are certain things that need to take place before a monument can be installed. So it's really worth taking time to think about how to plan and design a memorial that truly reflects a person's life. It's actually a healing activity that helps to alleviate grief.
John, this makes a lot of sense.
It does. And when the time is right to proceed, not only can Rome Monument help families choose and design their memorial, we can help them save as much as 50% by eliminating the middleman.
Thanks, John. Folks, you can learn more by simply visiting RomeMonuments.com.
Did you know you can spend your PA taxes to fund a scholarship for a child in need and get a 90% tax credit refund? Through Blocks, that's BLOCS, you can direct your state tax liability, fund a scholarship, direct it to the tuition-based school of your choice, and receive a 90% refund on the donated amount. It's a simple process, and you can fund a scholarship that will change a child's life. Tax credit slots are filling up fast, and you must make your commitment by December 23rd. Head to BLOCS.org now.
House stealing. It's a nightmare that's real. It's the FBI's term for thieves stealing your home's title and draining your equity. Just one fake document filed with a recorder, and scammers can own your home on paper, drain your equity, and do it all without you even knowing. Imagine waking up to a foreclosure or eviction notice. Listen to former title thief Matt Cox.
What people don't realize is the ease in which this crime can happen. I can take the deed to your house and I can transfer that deed into my name. It's a great crime, and it's happening all the time.
So how can you stop the nightmare and protect yourself? Find out if you're already a victim now at HomeTitleLock.com. Use promo code RADIO and get a 30-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, a title scan, and access to a title specialist, a $250 value. Don't wait. Go to HoldTitleLock.com now. Promo code RADIO.
The KDKA radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at KennyRoss.com.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
Now, I will probably get to this a little later on as well, since I do have the bonus hour. Somebody, the gift certificate, the coupon analogy, the bit that I did earlier. Follow along, pay attention. But before I get to Michael Thornhill, I do want to, we're talking about firsts. And you can't have a first if you don't first have people that will fight for you to have security, to be empowered, and have the opportunity to enjoy America and be American and embrace what it means to be an American. So I know that Veterans Day is coming up officially on Tuesday. I know there was a Veterans Day parade, several of them, or acknowledgments. I was at one last night that my kiddo had a chance to play at. I know there was a parade earlier this weekend. I just want to take a moment to say thank you. One of the things that I know somebody's going to call in at 866-391-1020 and make a comment about this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I know that in modern times we're seeing the military much more politicized than we're used to seeing. But they are the essence of what Washington, George Washington, that is, saw being American as being all about, whether it was the politics, whether it was the civics, whether it was the military. It was literally the acknowledgement and embrace of an ideology or an identity, better than an ideology, an identity over an ideology, I should say, that we are Americans first, foremost, in full sentence. And if there's ever an institution that fully embodies that in a public service way, because you have people that work for the government, but a lot of times the people that are running those organizations are appointed by, politicos. I mean, honestly, even the Secretary of Defense is appointed by a Politico and has to be confirmed. Secretary of State is appointed by a Politico. Well, you know who the Politico is. It's the President of the United States. Has to be confirmed. The military. The people on the ground to ensure that our rights, our opportunity, and our future are protected and enabled to be more than what we even think they can be. They're not political. They're more often than not political footballs. If a political leader tells a non-political entity, i.e. the military, to go do something and they follow orders, they're wearing the uniform that prompts scorn. And now I don't have to go all the way back to Vietnam. I could simply go to, post 9/11 era. People were angry at Bush. We talked about the death of Dick Cheney about 7-8 days ago. Well, there was a lot of people that were frustrated with, the military actions with that endeavor, including the surge. They just do what they're told. They try to do the right things. And there are times the military doesn't do things that they would love to do. I remember talking to a veteran, good friend of mine over the years, that I knew from my school days, that saw some atrocities that were going on that he wasn't allowed to intervene with because his hands were tied politically. And I'm sure there are veterans all over the place that solve things that keep them up at night decades later. From the 60s on through last year. But politics held their hands. And so why am I bringing them up? Why am I saying thank you? I'm saying thank you because during these very turbulent political times that we will talk about, including what happened Tuesday, what happens afterwards, and everything else that goes with that, they still have to keep their mettle. They still have to keep their professionalism. They have to keep their poise. They are the people that truly have to be patriotic. Not this flag waving you see in Washington, D.C., not the flag waving you see from virtual signalers from coast to coast. They have to do it with a gun in their hands and sometimes halfway around the world. They are first on weeks like this week. Because without them, anything else we want to celebrate may not be the same. So I just wanted to make sure I said thank you. After the news, I will be talking to Michael Thornhill. And after that, I'll be talking to you at 866-391-1020. First some commercials, then the news, then we're coming back on News Radio KDKA.
Hey folks, NASCO Roofing, the region's roofing leader, continues to exceed customer expectations. Carol from Pittsburgh praised NASCO Roofing for their quality workmanship and the timely manner NASCO completed her new roof. She loved how friendly and easy NASCO Roofing was to work with. NASCO has satisfied thousands like Carol. Get NASCO on your roof next. Call NASCO Roofing, 412-373-2000, 412-373-2000. Most jobs done in a day. Special financing available. NASCO Roofing, NASCO.
At AHN, we see you juggling 100 things at once. That's why we made it easier to book with the doctors you need. With AHN online scheduling, you can book with your primary care provider or get time with a specialist. Visit ahn.org/schedule, answer a couple of simple questions, and search for providers, locations, and times that work best for you. Easy online scheduling. Because at AHN, we see you.
Nobody had to tell your grandparents not to drive while using their typewriters. Why should it be any different for us kids and our cell phones? Distracted driving was the cause of more than 3,000 deaths in 2022. Come on, we're smarter than this. Let's put down the phones and focus on the roads. Drive safe, everybody.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
The Colorectal Cancer Alliance wants you to know a lot of things in life are preventable. Ooh, gas station sushi. That's preventable. And even colon cancer can be preventable if you get screened. If you're 45 or older, talk to your doctor. Go to colorectalcancer.org to learn more.
From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
CBS News Brief. The now 40-day government shutdown is having a negative effect on the U.S. economy. White House Economic Counsel Kevin Hassett tells CBS's Face the Nation.
Goldman Sachs, they have a top economic team, and they're estimating that we've already knocked about 1.5% off of GDP. I think that number is probably low.
It feels more like winter than fall in parts of the central U.S., meteorologist Andrew Kozak.
Coldest air of the season. We have 20s and 30s, dipping down as far south as the deep south, and then along with that,
We have snow that we're tracking for the next 24 to 48 hours.
He says it's due to a polar vortex coming down from Canada. Longtime NFL Commissioner Paul Tagliabue has died.
For decades, the NFL has served to unite people from all over America. You can see that here tonight. You can see it every weekend for more than 20 weeks a year.
Tagliabue ran the league for 17 years in an era of riches and expansion. He was 84. CBS News Brief, I'm Heather Bosch.
Join Rob Pratt every Sunday at 11 a.m. for Black and Gold Sunday, presented by Coons Market, your hometown Pittsburgh grocer. Rob keeps you posted on Pittsburgh sports with 2 hours of exciting talk. That's Black and Gold Sunday, 11 to 1, presented each week by Coons Market.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
If you are facing divorce, contact Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois.
Act quickly and call Lacina today to refresh your home for the holidays. Larry Richard for Lacina Drapery and Blind Factory, your local experts in custom drapery, blinds, shades, shutters, and motorized window treatments. Get your home holiday ready with Lacina's free shop-at-home service and expert design advice. Visit Lacina's Dormont and Wexford showrooms or online at lacinadrapery.com. Call Lacina today, 412-665-4900. Lacina Drapery, where style meets family tradition.
Experience casino like never before at Bet365. Spin your way through your favorite games. Check out our awesome table games and face off against a real live dealer. And play exclusive games that you simply can't play anywhere else. New Bet365 players get a 100% deposit match bonus up to $1,000 plus spins. Download the app and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically present in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. T&Cs apply.
The Colorectal Cancer Alliance wants you to know a lot of things in life are preventable. Ooh, gas station sushi. That's preventable. And even colon cancer can be preventable if you get screened. If you're 45 or older, talk to your doctor. Go to colorectalcancer.org to learn more.
Americans spend $66 billion on weight loss products and services each year. And you know what? Right here in our hometown, Pittsburgh's very own board-certified and licensed hypnotherapist Dan Vitchoff has helped thousands of people do just that: lose weight, keep it off. In fact, he's been helping people take back control of their lives for more than 20 years here in Pittsburgh at the PA Hypnosis Center. You have an opportunity to do the same. Are you battling anxiety? So many people are. He can help you with that. If you want to quit smoking, Dan Vitchoff is the call you should make at the PA Hypnosis Center today. Schedule your pre-consultation at 724-934-8446, 724-934-8446. Dan can help you reach your goal with a 98% success guarantee. 724-934-8446. Call now.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
This afternoon, a fair amount of clouds, gusty breeze with some rain showers, high 52. Those showers change over to snow showers tonight. Watch for slick travel, low 30. More snow showers tomorrow, a cold day, high just 35. Some sunshine, 30s Tuesday. For AccuWeather, I'm Bill Dager, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
What's up, America? It's Rich Valdez. On our next show, we're joined by the well-known scholar Dr. Carol Swain. She recently debated Black Lives Matter in a room full of college students, and she won. She's going to tell us exactly how that went down. All of that's coming up with me on the next Rich Valdez. Monday night at 10 p.m. on 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, as I mentioned before the break, I want to go ahead and get into this interview with author who is locally educated. Point Park and Slippery Rock is where he bid his time getting his 2 degrees. I'm talking about author Michael Thornhill of the book, The First, The Few, and The Only. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you for joining me on News Radio KDK.
How you doing, Lenny? It's a pleasure to be here.
So let me ask you, let me start with this. We are literally, I don't know, we're going on 10 years after the two-term presidency of the first African-American president of the United States. We have probably gone through 50 to 75 years of firsts. You know, whether it's Jackie Robinson in the 1940s all the way through to, people that desegregated the military, to first black mayors in cities, all the way through to the aforementioned Barack Obama, 44th president of the United States.
Yes,
What made you write this book now? What's significance in 2025 of this book being published now?
Yeah, that's a great question, Lenny. To be honest with you, I really believe that no matter where we go in this country, in the U.S., that this administration has designed the U.S. to roll back time pre-civil rights. I was a DEI practitioner. I'm a recovering DEI practitioner, as I like to put it. And I got to tell you, I really do believe that we started from square one and maybe even -10. And I think that Black and brown people need to stop trying to change white America and just realize what tokenism is and navigate a little more smartly, because I thought we were progressing, not just because of Obama, but because of all the work that the 300,000 black women that got laid off in DEI and all the black men that never get named that got laid off. And I'm at a point now where I'm like, you know what? People that don't want to change won't change. And systems are meant to be the way that they are. And so I thought that the best way to love on the black and brown community is to tell our stories and help us realize that we're not alone.
So there's a lot of things to break down there. So number one, we're talking about being, the first, the few, and the only when it comes to being an African-American or a minority, because I know that in part of your book, you don't necessarily just focus on black people. You do talk about people that are generally speaking not part of the majority population in I would say, Western society, but I think you're obviously focusing on the United States. But there's a lot of... Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So there's a lot of stuff in there with that. But let me go to a couple things that you bring up, and I kind of want to dive into it a little bit, because you mentioned the term tokenism. And tokenism, needless to say, has a negative connotation to it. Yet, there's something to be said about the power of being the first, or the power of being the few or the only, where you can open doors. But there's a contrast there, because being a token is not the same as being a trailblazer. Talk a little bit about how you address that dynamic between how does one go from possibly only being a token and transitioning or being a trailblazer instead.
Yeah, I first got to identify what I mean by tokenism. I think if you've ever been in a room and you're listening to the sound of my voice and you felt like the only one with your face in the room, this book's for you. And I want to clarify that tokenism is not an accident. Okay, it's a structural imposition. It gives the illusion of choice, happenstance, and freedom to, for example, in the U.S. context, the melanated. But just like rats believing they have choice in the maze, they are still trapped by the designer of the labyrinth. It is a design, a psychosocial hamster wheel that keeps black and brown bodies on their knees long enough, low enough, forever the minority enough for whiteness to feel tall. But let me make this very clear. Just because there's a single black pastor in the administration of the white evangelical church that has visibility but no authority does not mean that the church is diverse. The company that has the one Asian executive in the C-suite that's a statistic of diversity but never a threat to the real culture or decisions does not mean the company is diverse. The school administrator whose ethnicity is ambiguous enough to be palatable but whose culture is so fragmented and watered down that they basically blend in with ease. You see, what you got to realize is that there are those who have been structurally in position to be the token, but they made the choice to be a trailblazer. Barack Obama made choices to be a trailblazer, but you got to realize that the system is going to do what systems do. They're meant to water you down and fragment you. And so when you take someone like John Amos and Esther Roll, there's a reason why John Amos was killed off of Good Times. There's a reason why Esther Roll from Good Times had to leave early. There's a reason Roberto Clemente and people like Jackie Robinson died of the autoimmune diseases that they died of. Is because it's one thing to be a token and assimilate. It's another thing to be a token and a trailblazer, and the latter is where the cost lives the most.
But with that said, though, Michael, I mean, I hear what you're saying. Good Times is in the 70s, though. Jackie Robinson died in 1972. I'm class of 72, so I remember that date. And I look at the systems that are in place now, and there are definitely some issues where people can say, okay, look, you still have some structural things in place. Now, of course, you have people that will say that those structural things are not in place anymore. I digress. I disagree with that completely. I think there's too many facts and figures that show that they're there. Yet at the same exact time, Michael, in 2025, and again, I'm talking to Michael Thornhill of the book, The First, the Few, and the Only, you're sitting with a system that still, in 2025, had a 2-term African-American president that didn't get shot at. You have a system collective system, where there are black mayors in small towns and cities as large as Chicago. And we got a Muslim that is a Muslim American who's from Uganda. He is technically African American that's in New York City. We have African American millionaires and some billionaires that are heading businesses. You can go to some of the major school districts throughout the United States, and they're headed by an African American PhD. So you have a lot of progress that has transpired. But I understand the crux of what you're saying, because you're saying there's a lot of progress, but you still see these systems into place. So talk to me how you address that tension, where you can very easily see the progress, but you can very easily see it's like, we're still seeing disproportionate numbers of African-American boys and now girls going to jail. We see disproportionate numbers of African-American men and women being underemployed or unemployed. We see disproportionate numbers of African-American men and African-American women that are dying anywhere from 5 to 15 years earlier than other Americans. How do we deal with that, considering you could see a lot of progress in one regard, but then these numbers are just wicked in other regards?
Yeah, I think you bring up not only a great point, but you answer your own question, Lenny, because we can never mistake, when we're talking about representation, right, we can never mistake visibility for allegiance, right? I write a story in the book about I had a black man in the military reach out to me and tell me his story and say, I want you to know that not every black and brown body above you is for you. And I was like, what do you mean? And he told me about the ways in which that black and brown leaders in the military sometimes will abandon or sacrifice the plights or the burdens of the black soldiers so that they can just keep rising. And that's not true for all black military leaders. Big shout out to anyone that's in the military that's black and brown and served for our country. But what I want to make very clear is that there are those that are representing black and brown people for the upgrade, for the what do you want, clout, or just for the opportunity to make more money.
But
right?
but isn't it? It's easier to say in that instance that they may not actually be representing. They're kind of reflecting, and that seems to slide back to the tokenism that you're talking about. They're there they're not representing, they're there as a representation. And it seems to be a differentiation that you're making, that if you're representing, you're advocating. If you're a representation, you may be falling into tokenism. Is that a fair assessment of what you've written about?
Yeah, well, actually, I want to clarify one more thing, that tokenism is a structural imposition. It's not necessarily something that we always have a choice. More often than not, if you want to be in a good neighborhood, most people aren't going to look like you. If you want to be in the better schools, most people are going to look like you. If you want to rise up in the company, there are going to be less people that look like you. So I want to basically, in the book, I clarify that tokenism is not good or bad. I try to make it neutral, and I actually actively try not to define it, but I try to describe the weight of it. I sought to describe the cost of it, because no matter where you are tokenized, you have a choice into whether your representation is going to be one of advocacy or opportunity individualistically, if that makes sense.
It does. And listen, I'm talking to author Michael Thornhill. He of Point Park and Slippery Rock, as far as where he earned his stripes, got his degrees. He is the author of the book, The First, the Few, and the Only. Going to talk some more to him after the break, and then from there I'm going to take some phone calls at 866-391-1020. More with Michael Thornhill after the break here on News Radio KDKA.
When you need to know, depend on the news leader. At home, in your car, or at work. The voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM, AM 1020, and KDKARadio.com.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos. Fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Hey folks, Marty Griffin. I go back years with Rob Pierce from Robert Pierce & Associates. One of my go-to guys. They've been at it more than 40 years. Clients are never charged unless the case is won. That remains the foundation of this firm's work. Led by managing partner Rob Pierce, this family-owned firm dedicated to helping friends and neighbors in the fight against negligence, wrongdoing, and abuse. I've seen it, folks. Skilled professionals, professional injury attorneys, and legal professionals. The firm provides compassionate and experienced representation to injury victims and their families, from personal injury and nursing home abuse to medical malpractice and Social Security disability cases. Robert Pierce and Associates been serving communities around this city, state, and the region for 40 years, committed to ensuring full and fair compensation. Call them right now for a no-obligation consultation. 412-214-7477.
Bet365 is paying out before the final whistle.
Check out Bet365's unrivaled early payout offer. When you bet on a team to win and they take a 17-point lead, you get paid no matter the final score. Forget the final whistle and start counting that cash. Hold up. You get early payout on parlays, too.
Download the app and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Pennsylvania. TNC Supply.
Spirits are up in Latrobe. We're excited to announce the strong Orlando schedule out of Latrobe. That's right, Orlando is #1. Fly out of Latrobe. Easy drive. Park for free. Book now for your Orlando excursion. Be part of the top destination out of Latrobe.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
I'm continuing my conversation with Michael Thornhill, he of the book, The Few. Sorry, I said it backwards. The First, The Few, and The Only. Said it like the old Marines commercial, with that same cadence. So, speaking of which, Michael, and again, I appreciate you joining me today. So you were talking about the military, speaking of cadence of the old Marine commercial. Let's talk a little bit. I want to bounce less with the military, more in the solution of, okay, there have been instances where, and if you are an African American or you are a minority, and this is the dirty little secret, and you can talk a little bit to this a little bit, Michael, if you'd like. There have been instances once or twice in a work career, a school career, a sports career, where you look and you're like, you think that we would at least be neutral, if not aligned with each other. And I can watch you working against me. I can watch you sabotaging me. So I less want to talk about the dynamic, Michael, but I want to talk about what's the solution to that. So when you are the first, the few, or the only, what do you do to make sure that you don't become part of the problem, that you're actually situated in that unique role to be part of the solution?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, you have to realize the role that you're playing. Not just realize, but you have to name it to tame it. You see, you can't fight or address anything that you can't name, let alone recognize. And so in the book, what I seek to do is give clarity to the different roles that have actually been set up before many of us were born. You see, when you watch someone actively betraying you, there's a name for that, okay? It's called the Sambo, right? You go back to slavery times. It's not just in the past, it's still today. You go to the Willie Lynch letters, right, of that people on slave plantations were trained of how to divide black and brown people on U.S. plantations, of which only 2% of all enslaved Africans were sent to the U.S. and they had to find a way to keep us from rebelling, like the people did in Haiti and the Seminoles and all the different Maroons of the borderland that you can learn more about in Chapter 18. You see, you have to realize that what role are you playing, and what role are other people colluding with the system to play against you? Because we were made to work against each other. Because when you induce scarcity in an environment, it's easy to get people to turn on each other. And black and brown people, they've been mastering how to do that to us for generations. And so, in essence, when you watch someone betraying you, usually there's some incentivization. There's some kind of opportunity that's presented to them that is not an opportunity next to you. The door is made through you, right? And so you have to recognize that that is a setup, and guard your heart, because you will likely want to resent the person that's being set up to betray you. But what I've come to realize is that love is the way. We have to learn to love anyone that's being set up to be a Sambo as much as Uncle Tom. And also to clarify, I think we had to clarify who Uncle Tom really was, not just who we understand him to be culturally, but the hero that he was. Even he was a hero to Harriet Tubman. And so that is Josiah Henson, who I talk about in the prologue. And so at the end of the day, you have to not just realize your structure and position, you have to recognize that you're being set up to hate your brother and sister and non-binary family member, and recognize that I need to love them as much as I love myself, as the good book talks about.
Let me ask you this. How do you find a way to create those solutions in a modern society? Because the world is not set up like it was even 50 years ago in regards to race being black or white, where segregation was the law in the United States and South Africa and the colonized planet, if you will. So you have this modern society where you have a female president in Mexico, as well as you've had him in India for a while and other places. You see diversity all over the place, including the United States, in different pockets. How do you make that work, considering that the modern geoeconomics and geopolitics that we deal with are much different than maybe the historical things that were put into place that keep this rub of racism going in America now since we can remember?
Absolutely. Well, James Baldwin said it best when he was saying how love has never, ever really been a popular movement. But when you go out into the world and you see these evils happening, you have to realize in yourself, when you look into the face of the person you see is colluding with the oppressor, not just the oppressor, that I could be that cop. I could be that teacher telling the neurodivergent black and brown kid that they're the problem, but, being, with kid gloves handling the same white-bodied neurodivergent child, that you have to be able to recognize that you could be that ICE agent if given the right circumstances and the right incentives. And that is, I believe, what the Golden Rule talks about. And that is what love looks like, not just in our hearts, but it looks like justice in public. Because to do to my neighbor as it's done to myself would change how we act to one another geopolitically as well. But again, to quote Baldwin, love has never been a popular movement.
Let me ask you this one final question before I got to let you go. Again, I'm talking to Michael Thornhill, he of the book, The First, The Few, and The Only. So how do you deal with, and I know it's a very deep question, but I'm asking you this in the course of like 60 seconds. What's the advice you would give to those folks that are the first, the few, or the only, that are dealing with people that some may call, quote unquote, the oppressor, that don't even realize they're buying into systems or they're buying into thinking that they were taught over the years, that they are just acting out of on autopilot, not necessarily out of a clear thought? What would the advice be to those people situated in those unique situations to overcome that?
First and foremost, I would say you're not alone. I have been you. I have been seduced to collude against my neighbor, to collude against the black and brown body in the workforce. If any of you have ever felt guilt over, the moral injury of harming a black or brown coworker for the sake of a supervisor that doesn't want to fire them, or the sake of a supervisor that doesn't want to, that basically wants to give you their job. I can't tell you how many white supervisors would give me their roles, give me their job to do just because they didn't want to do it to the black body. They wanted me to go do it. And so I wanted to say that I'm you. I've been there. I've experienced the moral injury. I've experienced the guilt, but I want you to know that you're not alone. That's book one. Book two is the fact that you're not defective, that any autoimmune disorder you have, any hair loss that you're experiencing, any lack of appetite, anyone that's having trouble getting pregnant. I interviewed president of Vibrant Pittsburgh, and she was telling me some of her story. This is in book 3, and that's book 2, that you're not defective. But book 3 says that you're not crazy. And those are the 3 messages I have across all 3 books. Only book 1 is out this year, but that you're not alone, you're not defective. There's nothing wrong with your body. And number 3, you're not crazy. And we have more in common than we have apart.
Michael Thornhill,
and buy my book.
Where can we find your book, The First, The Few, and The Only?
You can check it out on tangobooks.com. Just look up Michael Thornhill. You can also look up my website. It's basically the title of the book, The First, The Few, and The Only.com. And you can also look me up on Amazon. I hit number 1 on Amazon on the first 48 hours of release in July. So people seem to like it.
Michael Thornhill, thank you for joining me here on News Radio KDKA.
Thank you so much.
No problem at all. Hey, listen, folks, 866-391-1020. We can chew on that. We can talk about what's going on with these SNAP benefits, the quasi-job numbers that have been released, the whole situation with the federal workers. We can also talk about the GDP possibly being cut by 1.5%. Let's get into more conversation. 866-391-1020 after the news here on News Radio KDKA.
The Big K Morning Show with Larry Richards.
We were talking about Tom Brady announcing he cloned his dog. And John, you called in and said there's another way to keep your pet's memory alive, and that's freeze drying them. And that stopped us in our tracks.
We're proud to be Pittsburghers, number 1, but we're also offering this service, which has just blown our minds as well.
Weekday mornings 5:30 to 10 on the Voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
The Village at St. Barnabas, the perfect place for moms.
Here's the latest from the KDKA Community Message Board.
Imagine growing up without seeing a ball game, visiting a museum, or exploring a zoo. For thousands of kids in our community, the cost of admission makes these experiences impossible. Tickets for Kids changes that, donating tickets to under-resourced youth through schools and social service agencies. Learn more at ticketsforkids.org.
Stay in the heart of Pittsburgh at the Landing Hotel at Rivers Casino, located steps away from Acrisure Stadium, PNC Park, and the nightlife of the North Shore. They're the perfect spot for your entertainment needs. Visit thelandinghotelpgh.com to book your stay today. Looking for an incredible Pittsburgh fresh-made hoagie? Visit Tim's Corner Market in Beachview. Fresh house-made bread stacked high with the finest meats and premium toppings and packed with Pittsburgh flavor at Tim's Corner Market on Broadway Avenue in Beachview.
Details at kdkaradio.com.
100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA, covered by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 platinum roofing company.
Many postmenopausal women like me have osteoporosis. There is no cure, but simple changes in our lives can keep us on the path to healthier bones. Osteoporosis can weaken your bones and slowly rob you of your independence. A daily exercise routine, along with a diet rich in calcium and vitamin D, can make a huge difference in your bone health. Taking care of your bones is necessary for healthy aging and lifelong independence. Learn how to start your own path to good bone health. Get bone health tips at pathtogoodbonehealth.org.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA FM HD2 Pittsburgh, W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Heather Bosch. Criminal charges in Major League Baseball.
Here, Emmanuel Clase will take over on the hill. The flamethrower here in the 4th. Here's a 3-2 strike, 3 called.
Cleveland Guardians pitchers Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz were indicted today for allegedly taking bribes to give sports bettors advance notice of the types of pitches they'd throw. It's alleged that they would intentionally toss balls instead of strikes to ensure successful bets. Both have been on paid leave since July while being investigated. In 1990, NFL Commissioner Paul Tagliabue once testified before the U.S. Senate.
Nothing has done more to despoil the games Americans play and watch than widespread gambling on them.
Word that Tagliabue, who ran the NFL for 17 years, has died. He was 84. Thousands of flights have been canceled at the nation's airports.
It's only going to get worse.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, with air traffic controllers calling in sick rather than work without pay during the government shutdown, he's reducing traffic at major airports by 4%. That'll go to 10% by Friday. And before Thanksgiving,
You're going to see air travel be reduced to a trickle. We have a number of people who want to get home for the holidays. They want to see their family. They want to celebrate this great American holiday. Listen, many of them are not going to be able to get on an airplane because there are not going to be that many flights that fly if this thing doesn't open back up.
Duffy on CNN. The shutdown is in its 40th day. More from CBS's Christian Benavides.
Democrats offered a plan that would extend Obamacare tax credits for a year and fund the government.
Doing nothing is derelict because people will go bankrupt, people will lose insurance, people will get sicker.
Republicans want the government to reopen before negotiating on health care. Some 42 million Americans on food stamps are left waiting for assistance after the program ran out of funds.
Fallout at the British Broadcasting Corporation for its coverage of President Trump. The BBC's Eileen McHugh.
The Director General of the BBC, Tim Davie, has resigned, along with the corporation's head of news, Deborah Turnus. Both had faced increasing pressure in recent days after a leaked internal report raised allegations of bias and of one programme broadcasting misleading footage of President Trump.
Frigid temperatures are gripping a large part of the U.S. Meteorologist Andrew Kozak.
Freeze watches and warnings actually expand now from Oklahoma and Texas all the way through Mississippi, Alabama, places like Atlanta. Savannah could be looking at cold that they haven't seen around this time since the 1870s.
He says it's due to a polar vortex coming out of Canada. The cold weather could linger for days. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-497-0593. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-497-0593. That's 800-497-0593. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Young fitness buffs are embracing vintage athletic wear.
Stretch it. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Young athletic types are reaching back, if not to Jane Fonda's aerobics days, to the early 2000s for their workout clothing. Many are turning to the resale app DeBop to find secondhand low-rise capri leggings, vintage baby tees, Nike track pants, and Adidas sports bras. A TikTok influencer, Natalia Spot, says she likes the way they stand out from modern athleisure suits. She tells the New York Times, working out can be boring, so why not throw in a little bit of spice? Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
15-year-old Pedro Elias Delvaux has become an internet sensation after a photo captured him wearing a fedora and a dashing suit outside the Louvre on the day of a crown jewels heist. Pedro says he's a fan of classic detectives like Sherlock Holmes and often dresses in vintage style. I'm Heather Bosch, CBS News.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
This afternoon, mostly cloudy, a couple of showers, high 52. Snow showers overnight tonight, low 30. More for tomorrow, high 35. Partly sunny, plus 36 on Tuesday. For AccuWeather, I'm Bill Dagger, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
The following is an editorial by KDKA Radio Senior Vice President Market Manager Michael Spacciapoli.
Corey O'Connor will be Pittsburgh's 62nd mayor after a massive landslide win. He's already named a chief of staff and director of public safety with a chief of police to follow. The mayor-elect intends to send nominations to Pittsburgh Council before taking office. After the inauguration, the O'Connor administration should immediately address two areas of concern: public safety and economic growth. The city needs new officers for an understaffed Bureau of Police. How can hiring be accelerated to end wasteful spending on overtime? Pittsburgh urgently needs new vehicles. Previous mayors failed to keep pace with the city's needs, and now its fleet of police cruisers, ambulances, fire trucks, and plow trucks are in the shop or out of service far too often. At the same time, O'Connor has the challenge of closing the city's budget deficit, and the mayor's office can make it easier for developers to launch projects, a process that takes far too long. With the NFL draft about 6 months away, O'Connor must make sure Pittsburgh is ready for its close-up, as millions of viewers are tuning in during draft week. Hosting the event successfully should leave the perception that Pittsburgh, as a city, is on the rise.
This has been an editorial by KDKA Radio Senior Vice President Market Manager Michael Spacciapoli. To view a transcript, go to kdkaradio.com.
All right, top of hour number 2. Like I said, I will be here for 4 hours today, not just 3. That said, all kind of opportunities, 866-391-1020 to call in. As I also mentioned, I will be hitting on the SNAP benefit situation. I will be hitting on the jobs numbers, quote unquote. No, I know the BLS did not provide anything First Friday. When you're a Catholic, especially go to Catholic schools, there's two things that happen on First Fridays. Number one, you got to go to church, especially if you're at a Catholic school. Number two, at least we did when we were growing up. And number two, the job numbers come out. And the job numbers aren't coming out from the federal government officially. ADP and some other private organizations have made it a point to release some numbers. I'll get into that. So I'll talk about that. We'll talk about the federal workers. And I want to talk about that, actually. And, of course, we'll talk about the interview on Face the Nation earlier today, talking about the possibility that this shutdown has cost the economy 1.5% of GDP, which, lest you forget, had contracted the first quarter of this year. Seemed to be okay, despite the job numbers, despite inflation, and the back and forth of the stock market in the second quarter. So now we're hearing this as we're in the fourth quarter. So just some things to throw out there. Heading to the phone lines, 866-391-1020. Going to the Bishop in Denora, and I will congratulate you first and foremost because you're going to tell me that you won, and I already knew that, so I'm congratulating you and welcoming you to News Radio KDKA.
Well, coming from you, I appreciate that, but I didn't know that you knew I won.
See, so you think I don't pay attention to you. See, that's what I'm saying. No, you think I don't pay attention to you.
Well, I appreciate you congratulating me. That means a lot to me. It really does. It really does. Coming from you, Brother Lenny.
I appreciate that.
Brother Lenny, two things before I get to my main points. One, I believe, and you know her well, you know you've traveled in those circles, I believe at least the setup or whatever, I don't think she has a chance. Well, let me not put that way. I don't think she's going to win as far as the governorship in New York. I do believe the Mondani Raiders, as I like to call them, my son included. He's in upstate New York.
You're talking about Stefanik. You're talking about Stefanik. Who's going to run against the incumbent up in New York for the gubernatorial race in 2026? Okay.
Well, I don't believe that she will. I believe if Holcomb can hold on to the cities like overwhelmingly like Buffalo, Albany, Rochester, Syracuse, Buffalo, I believe that she will win, and I believe the youth turnout or enthusiasm that they have for Mondani pressing the issue for her per se, not being so much on the mainstream, but his support and getting his, I call them Raiders.
So let me can I respond to that, Brother Bishop, if I may, please? So sure. I think people forget that the Trump brand on the ballot is not this sterling brand. It's not. They lost in term one. He lost a U.S. Senate seat in Alabama. How do you do that? It's kind of like, say, how do you lose a Republican seat to Conor Lamb in a special election? Digressing. That said, people forget he won 2 elections against 2 of the most unpopular and pretty bad candidates that he could run against. Kamala Harris was at the top of the polls in 2019 and ended up just dropping like a lead balloon in her own race before she was thrown on the ballot with 120 days or so remaining, or less, actually. And then Hillary Clinton was historically bad, and almost as historically bad as Donald Trump was in 2016. So he lost to he beat 2 of the most historically bad candidates that ever ran for the presidency, and he lost to a third one that was historically bad in Joe Biden in 2020. A guy that lost multiple times and was polling at like 2%, 3% in mid-2019 and literally needed James Clyburn to give him a little goose to his campaign in South Carolina before he won the nomination in 2020. So everybody that looks at Donald Trump and says, this is a great campaigner, a great politician, I'll just take the Trump brand and I'll go win New York, they have not studied this at all, it would seem. So to your point, I agree. I don't think Stefanik's going to win, but go ahead. Yeah.
And by the way, we're planning on trying to have a free spaghetti dinner for the Mon Valley for all the citizens, and due to the fact that these people are hurting out here. I've been getting reports there's some veterans, a veteran who has his water cut off. By the way, let me just say this: the Nora Borough, the mayor, the council, and the superintendent of the Mon Valley Sewage has stepped up and says, I worked on it, suspending shutoffs for right now because of the situation. The only egregious is the Charleroi Water Authority, who has not signed off on that, far as shutoffs, temporarily suspending shutoffs, and that's egregious.
I noticed that you didn't invite me to the spaghetti dinner. What's up with that?
No, you're welcome to come anytime, Brother Lenny. But now here's the thing with this.
So I need you to tell Mike when we get off the air. You need to tell Mike when they are, and then I will see about making an appearance. Go ahead to your other point, because I got other callers. Go right ahead.
I appreciate it. I do believe the job is suffering. I believe there's been loss of not only it was sliding anyway, but because of this shutdown. And I do believe that the SNAP benefits, Brother Lenny, if these people out here are hurting, something has to be done. Even on the state level, something has to crack in the next week. Hopefully, we'll talk again soon.
I'm going to put you on hold, kind sir. Appreciate your phone call. Mike, if he can, during the commercial break, he'll get the information. You can kind of let him know, hey, this is where it is, this is what's going on, and then I will let you know if I can do it. Now, again, I know there's the person with the gift certificate that's literally ready to, have a stern talking to me for making more plans when I don't have that much time. But she also knows I'm a man of the people, and it's spaghetti. I mean, between being a man of the people and spaghetti, what else you want me to do? So we'll get that information from you, Bishop. Appreciate your phone call as always. Listen, Luciano, Anthony, hang tight. I'm going to go to break early so I can get back to the phone calls as soon as I get back. It seems to be the best, most appropriate, easiest, smartest thing to do. I do want to talk about these job numbers. And again, from ADP, these job numbers are not good. I don't think we have hit creation of 100,000 jobs nationally by way of what the BLS or ADP privately have told us about in months. I'll read off some of those numbers. I'll get back to the phone lines. Hang tight, Bishop's sticking around. Get that information. But Luciana, you're next, and then Anthony, and then others. 866-391-1020. Going to break early so I can come back earlier to talk to these wonderful people on News Radio KDKA.
Now more than ever, we're the station you can trust for the information you need. KDKA.
If you're one of the millions of Americans behind on your taxes, if you're afraid to open your mail because IRS collection letters could be coming, listen carefully. The IRS is cracking down, taking paychecks, freezing bank accounts, revoking passports. That's a fact. But here's what most people don't know. There are official tax relief programs designed to help struggling taxpayers. Programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Optima's award award-winning team will fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-608-0955. 800-608-0955. 800-608-0955.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Attention, Pittsburgh area residents. If you have Medicaid and need help with activities of basic living, Freedom Care can make it easy. With Freedom Care, the person who cares for you can be someone you love, your family, your friend, or a trusted neighbor. They can assist you with meals, bathing, eating, mobility, and more. And Medicaid pays them for your care. You stay in the home you love, surrounded by the people you choose, and it's 100% free to you. Don't wait. Call Freedom Care now. Call 412-674-5196. With Freedom Care, you get the care you need, and your loved one gets paid instantly after every shift. Feel better, heal better, and live better at home with Freedom Care. Call 412-674-5196 or visit freedomcare.com today. That's 412-674-5196. Again, 412-674-5196. 412-674-5196.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
My name is Emma. I am 13 years old. 6 years ago, I was injured in a car accident that left me paralyzed from the waist down. Once I completed rehab, my mom applied for a canine companion service dog. Last January, I finally got to meet my service dog, Marcia. We quickly developed a very strong bond. Together, we go to my horseback riding lessons, school band practice, swim meets, and archery classes. Together, we pick vegetables, and we like to cut flowers. I love Marcia. She makes me feel like together we can do anything. I can't imagine life without her. She's a part of the family. We are just one of the thousands of teams Canine Companions has paired together over the past 50 years. With your help, we can continue for another 50. Visit canine.org to see the many ways you can change lives.
I can tell that we are gonna be friends.
New to Medicare, get covered with MediConnect. Listen Wednesdays around 1:40 to hear Lance O'Brien of MediConnect help you navigate the Medicare process. Simply great, unbiased information to get you the best healthcare coverage. Get covered with MediConnect. Medicare made simple.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
Now, before I go back to the phone lines, I'm going to go to Luciano first, and I'm going to go to Anthony. I'm going to go to others at 866-391-1020. I'm going to put this out there about the job numbers. This talks about the economy. This talks about where we are as a nation and everything else along those lines. 5 times in the Biden economy of 2024, the Biden-Harris horrible, wretched economy of 2024, there were 5 months where the United States added over 200,000 jobs per month. In a 6th month, where the number was 193. We haven't had 1 month in 2025 where we've added 160,000 jobs in a month. The highest was 158 in April. And after Liberation Day, April 2nd, a day that will live in infamy. Tell me about it. And I'm not eschewing anything or casting aspersions on the people that died in Pearl Harbor before anybody goes there. I'm talking about the phrase living in infamy. Because economically, here are your job numbers officially and from ADP officially, so public and private, since April. 19,000 jobs added in the United States in May. 13,000 jobs lost in June. 79,000 jobs added in July. 22,000 jobs added in August. 29,000 jobs lost in September. And 42,000 jobs added in October. Nationally. But everything's going well. And I don't mean to be facetious with that statement. I obviously it was. The one thing that's different between a conservative such as Reagan and a conservative such as Trump, and I use conservative in air quotes with Trump. When Reagan was getting his teeth kicked in 1982 with double-digit inflation, getting shellacked in midterms and looking very much like a one-term president, there was a pivot. There was a pivot with foreign policy. There was a pivot on how he talked about the Russians. Starting in around 1983, even though the Even Empire statement was in 1983. There was a pivot with how he dealt with his allies. There was a pivot with how he dealt with Asia. There were pivots. Economically, geopolitically, there were pivots. Now, one could make the argument it took Reagan 2 years to pivot versus we're only in year one. The flip side of that is, I would argue we're in year 5. Reagan was not a second time around president doing the Grover Cleveland thing. That's the difference with Trump, one of many. When you look at these economic numbers with the job growth, let alone the fact that GDP shrunk, grew, is already losing 1.5% roughly because of the shutdown, with Republicans controlling all 3 branches of government, there seems to be a doubling and tripling and quadrupling down of something that Americans, according to what we heard on Tuesday, just don't want. To the phones, Luciano, you're on KDK.
Lenny, thank you for taking my call. I say this with affection, but I disagree with you. I'm wondering if you're going to vote for J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio.
What do you do? Hold on. What do you disagree with me on?
First of all, it's the Democrats are also responsible for the shutdown. It's not the Republicans. It's the Democrats that want to give illegal health
no, they
care
don't. That's
and also welfare.
Luciano. I'm going to tell you. This happened last week. If you're going to read off talking points that have been disproven for weeks on end, you got to go. So I put you on hold. You're not gone yet. But the Democrats have refuted that talking point for weeks on end. And by the way, it's illegal. They can't get certain benefits. Well, certain benefits working here and other things, yes, they can get. So let's try again. And by the way, hold on, Luciano. And by the way, I have always said that both sides are at fault. What I just said was that Republicans control both chambers of government and the White House, which puts them in a different position of power than the minority party. I.e., look at 2009 with Obamacare and how that went down. The Republicans were in the minority. They couldn't do anything but throw tomatoes at Fozzie Bear from the crowd, and that was it. And Fozzie Bear got hit with tomatoes, and they lost in 2010.
Okay, Lenny, I'm going to see how you respond to this as a black American. I was talking to two Dominicanos. They are black. They're the closest. They are the most blackish Latinos of all Latin American countries. I was talking to the two Dominican Republicans this week, and they are Dominican Republics who will not let any Haitians enter Dominica, the Dominican Republic. These are Dominicans that are mostly of Puerto Ricans have mulatto and Indian blood, but most Dominicans are of African descent. And so many, I'll say the dirtiest little secret. Latin America is very racist. Towards the darker you are, the more racist you are, including Mexico and South America.
What does that have to do with America?
I'm saying this because you were throwing, wasn't there over 200,000 white people died in the Civil War to free the slaves? And Abraham Lincoln was
Stop. Stop, Luciano. The Civil War was the Civil War was not started to free the slaves. The Civil War was started to reunify the country. Then it eventually became an issue of slavery. It didn't start an issue of slavery. As a matter of fact, if you recall, states start saying, all right, bounce them out after Lincoln won the election in 1860. So I understand your point. Did white Americans die for greater social justice? Yes, they did. I would never deny that. In fact, your better analogy probably is, were there white clergy and other white people that walked with African Americans that got hit upside the head with bricks and bottles and spit on and beat up and some of them killed during the Civil Rights era in the 1950s, 60s, and early 70s? People that we actually can look at and say we were neighbors with them and our family knew them. Yes, that is true too. I would never say that's not the case. I think that there are good people that have done good things all across the spectrum.
Lenny, I went to Catholic school for 8 years. I was baptized Catholic, and I heard that in the Civil War, about over 150 white soldiers died to free, and they were fighting with black citizens to free the fight against the Ku Klux Klan was founded by white Southern Democrats. Is this not true, Lenny? I'll hang up and listen.
I appreciate that, but I mean, it's a wonderful thing to be able to say the Klan was started by a Democrat, so all Democrats hate black people. It's just, Luciano, I love you, but the Fox News talking point's got to go sometimes, man. It's raining outside. It's foggy. It's cold. I haven't eaten for the most part all day. I'm going to be here an extra hour. I try my best not to do talking points. I really, really, really do. But I love you, and I always appreciate your phone call, and I wish you well. I always wish you well. And I'm going to wish Anthony well when I come back after the news where he has time to talk, but just for him, not just for him. For others, 866-391-1020, there's going to be some time for you as well after the news. News Radio, KDKA.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-999-3339. That's 800-999-3339. Again, that's 800-999-3339.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
CBS News Brief.
And it's strikeout number 2 for Luis Ortiz.
Cleveland Guardians pitchers Luis Ortiz and Emmanuel Clase were indicted today for allegedly taking bribes to give sports gamblers advance notice of the types of pitches they throw to ensure successful bets. Both have been on paid leave since July while being investigated. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says he may have to reduce flights in and out of major U.S. airports even more because of absent air traffic controllers. Duffy explaining on CNN.
The problem is that as I try to reduce the pressure by lowering flights, I have more controllers that keep not coming to work. And so the pressure goes back up again.
Some are calling in sick rather than work without pay due to the government shutdown. A polar vortex is taking aim at the central U.S. Meteorologist Craig Allen.
We're going to see readings down to near or below freezing as far south as near the Houston area.
CBS News Brief, I'm Heather Bosch.
We're talking with Joe Sabulis from Highwood Cemetery. Joe, I read a story recently about a local cemetery that had run out of funds and was struggling to pay for its upkeep. How did this happen?
Some cemeteries eventually become full and can no longer sell grave sites to generate income. How will those cemeteries pay for their continued care? The cemetery may or may not have a fund for this purpose. In the story you mentioned, that cemetery is no longer selling property and its care fund is almost depleted. Now they're struggling to pay for upkeep.
How can families be assured that their grave sites are being cared for now and in the future?
Highwood Cemetery exists to serve the public rather than make a profit. Our $1 million perpetual care fund is managed by a fiduciary to ensure that the care of the cemetery will be as it is today for generations to come.
And you can learn more about Highwood Cemetery by calling 412-766-6600.
Honey, I found the perfect place for my parents and us.
Where?
St. Barnabas. For us, the Woodlands Carriage Home Community. And for my parents, condominium-style living at the Village. My folks will love the Village. There's an indoor mall with shops, restaurants, and more. And we can relax, knowing they're safe and secure.
That's what I plan to do when we move to St. Barnabas. Relax.
Call 724-444-5568 or visit stbarnabascommunities.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Join Rob Pratt every Sunday at 11 a.m. for Black and Gold Sunday, presented by Coons Market, your hometown Pittsburgh grocer. Rob keeps you posted on Pittsburgh sports with 2 hours of exciting talk. That's Black and Gold Sunday, 11 to 1, presented each week by Coons Market.
If you have Medicaid and are new to Medicare, you may qualify to enroll in a Humana Medicare Advantage dual-eligible special needs plan with a lot more benefits, like dental, vision, and hearing, along with helpful support when you need it most. Now is the time to see if you qualify to enroll. It only takes a few minutes to find out if you're eligible. Our licensed sales agents are ready to help you understand your options. So this Medicare planning season, we can help you plan well. Learn more at humanaduals.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a dual-eligible special needs PPO SNP plan with a Medicare contract and a contract with the state Medicaid program. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
This afternoon, a fair amount of clouds, gusty breeze with some rain showers, high 52. Those showers change over to snow showers tonight. Watch for slick travel, low 30. More snow showers tomorrow, a cold day, high just 35. Some sunshine 30s Tuesday. For AccuWeather, I'm Bill Dager, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, looking forward to getting back on Monday. We'll talk a whole lot about everything that happened over the weekend. Colin Dunlap, 2 to 6 Monday. See you then.
All right, starting up these phone lines once again, 866-391-1020. I said I wanted to save some time just for Anthony, but it's not just for Anthony, but Anthony is first, and he is now on KDK.
You know, I'm a lifelong Democrat. I'm one of those Democrats who believe, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. I'm appalled to find out there's 42 million people who are involved in the SNAP program. That tells me there's something wrong in this country, that we have that many people dependent on the government. I'm also disappointed in the Democrats because the shutdown is completely their fault. It's irresponsible on them that they're holding the country up hostage.
I don't think I disagree with that.
Will you please allow me to finish?
You can.
And you can challenge all you want. What I'm saying is, and here's why. In 2021, when they had the House, the Senate, and the White House, if they were concerned about the Obamacare subsidy, they should have pushed them off to 2028, the next presidential election.
Fix them there.
24.
I agree with that.
They thought they were going to win in 24. They didn't. Now you expect a party who's from the inception of Obamacare was to stifle the money from it. That's what the Republicans were doing. And it took a thumbs down by John McCain to get it done years ago. So you're going to shut the whole country down because you're worrying about maybe 10 to 12 or 14 million people on these subsidies while the rest of the country is in disarray? Where people, let me tell you what's going to happen here, and it's going to be blood on their hands because Trump and them are going to play it for this. I pray to God this doesn't happen, but somebody's going to die in these by a plane crash if we don't get this thing together. You can't have disarray when people are flying. So you've lost the battle. Let the subsidies go up. If Trump and his gang pulls them up, then you got a culprit. Now you got somebody to challenge for the midterms in 2028. But if something goes awry and ugly, you are going to be blamed because people are all going to start asking questions, and some of them remember, just like I did, that it's your fault.
Well, a couple things. Number one, you bring up a very interesting point about 2021 and saying that, hey, you all could have fixed this then. You had everything. And here's the irony with this. There's more than one irony with this, Anthony. Number one, what did they have in 2021 when Biden came in addition to control the government? What was more important? They had all the moral authority. They had momentum from a political and moral authority perspective because of January 6th. It just happened. So basically, you had a bunch of Republicans turning on the now 47th president of the United States, and you had all the momentum. Fix it then. Now, ironically, can you tell me a time when Democrats overlooked a major issue when they were too busy focusing on something very myopically? I can. Would you like to know where my analogy is going? I'm going to the immigration issue when Barack Obama had a supermajority when he first got into office. But rather than fixing multiple things, walking and chewing gum at the same exact time, he made sure that automakers got their bailout. He made sure that the ACA went through. You had cash for clunkers. You had the fiasco with AIG getting the money that they used for bonuses, and they try to tax them at 100%. And then you had the ACA with the Cornhusker kickback and Gatorade and everything else, and that didn't go very well either. But they could have fixed immigration in 2009 with a supermajority, and some of maybe not all of it, but some of what's going on now might not have been an issue if it's addressed in 2009. So it goes back to your point. I will acquiesce that part of the point, that Democrats had an opportunity to make some hay when they had the numbers, and they simply did not. Now, with that said, I will go to this. If you want to blame Democrats for shutting down the government now, and I've said this over recent weeks, they should have been fighting tooth and nail before that bill was signed in July. And they weren't. You want to shut stuff down, do it in April, before all the tariffs kick in, before the runaway train is completely off the tracks, and before the bill was passed in July. They didn't do that. Now, if you want to blame the Democrats for that, then yes, I would blame them for that. I would also say, though, that Republicans are, to me, I'm holding both sides accountable. I understand what you're saying about the Dems. But I also am saying that the Republicans have to look at this, too, and see some damage as well. And sit there and say, at some point in time, let's broker a deal. Somebody has to be a statesman. They don't have to be, but it'd be nice if they would be.
Look, they have. This was their. You know, this has been their dream to destroy Obamacare.
Yeah.
You know that they're not going to acquiesce. Sorry, not going to happen.
That's true.
Democrats, you cut bait now, because before something ugly happens, and it will fall in your hands. All it takes is 5 willful Democrats to walk across and open up the government. And while you're doing it, tell them what's going to happen. Tell those folks who have the subsidies what's going to happen to them, and tell them who's the culprit that's letting it happen. But if something goes awry, people aren't going to look for the other scapegoats from the GOP. They're going to look at you. Because you'll have reporters hopefully start saying, just like I figured it out. I figured it out a long time ago. So, but look, Obama, as you were saying back then, yeah, and he thought he could deport his way out of the immigration fiasco, just like Trump is trying to do. And it's a hard thing. It's a hard nut to crack, because the economy right now. And you know what? Didn't I tell you that the Trumpster was going to send out some stimulus? Didn't I tell you a couple? What was it, about a month? I told you it was going. I thought I would wait until the midterms, but things are going to rise so crazy right now. He's going to do it now. But we're going to have a nice little fat check and I'm going to be happy, and I'm going to spend it and still be angry with them, because none of this had to happen. None of this had to happen. His tariffs were wrong. What did the Supreme Court told America what you and I said from the get-go, Lenny? A tariff is a tax on the American people, and Congress is the only authority that can tax. So you know what, Lenny? This is why people, when they listen to, they have to listen to everything we say, because we have been right on with this nonsense from the get-go. And so where we're at now, I don't know. I just pray to God nothing ugly happens. Democrats, here's the advice. Don't get full of your oats because of what happened on Tuesday. Because if something goes awry in the country, you will be blamed. And if people can't go visit their families because of Thanksgiving, because everything's shut down, because these people aren't going to work in perpetuity without being paid.
Oh, they're starting to call out. They're starting to call off more and more. And to your point, it's interesting. Let me ask you this before I let you go. Because there's 2 paths that Democrats could take. They could take one path and say, because I've heard it both sides. One could be, look at the mandate we got. Man, our gubernatorial candidates crushed the other side. There's no way we're backing down now. We got all the momentum. Or, to your point, the argument could be, listen, we actually heard the American people. Affordability's on the ballot. These knuckleheads on the other side of the aisle, God bless them as Americans, but they've really wrecked things. We can't let this go on much longer. We know that the American people are walking beside us. We're going to reopen the government, and we're going to show them solutions for the next year to find ways to reverse what 2025 has been. And by the time 26 comes in, all the momentum we got from this November will couple in with next November, and we'll have our own little version of the blue wave, Tea Party, whatever you want to call it. Is that what you're basically thinking that the Democrats are saying right now?
Well, that's if they would be listening to me and Fetterman instead of the crazies, AOC and that crowd. Because AOC and that crowd, of course, they don't want to capitulate. They want to stand on their tombstone. Because that's what's going to happen if something goes awry, people. If people can't visit their family members for the holiday, and then the next year they die or something. You're going to be blamed, and there's going to be a lot of people angry. Thanks, man.
I appreciate your phone call as always. And to your point, I mean, you always worry about air travel, but between the possibility of another accident, which, again, let's not forget about the accident that happened over D.C. earlier this year. When you couple that with the fact that, yes, to Anthony's point, whether you agree or disagree, even though I think it makes sense, whether you agree or disagree with the strategy, there is this. Yo, Democrats, it's November 9th. You basically have 2 weeks to ride this wave. The moment people can't get places during the holiday season, all of you are to be blamed. All of you. And some of the wave that you have, some of the momentum that you have, some of the shine that you have starts tarnishing a little bit. I can see the merits of that. I don't exclusively blame Democrats, but I do think that Democrats are now in a different position to pivot and say, look, we had no other choice. Pick 5 Democrats that reopen the government in swing districts where it helps them win in 2026. Or, well, no, that's what I would do. I wouldn't even get 5 far lefties. I would just do that. Help a purple Democrat win a purple district this time next year. Now, it doesn't mean I absolve Republicans for their role in this, because I understand the politics, but I would like to think that you're in politics to lead people, love people, serve people. But what do I know? 866-391-1020. Going to Ken, going to Joanne, but first going to break on News Radio KDKA.
The KDKA Mobile News Fleet is driven by Jim Shorkey Kia, North Huntington and Wexford. JimShorkeyKia.com.
At PJ Fitzpatrick, you don't have to pick between affordability and quality. You can get American-made windows that are beautiful, affordable, and energy efficient. PJ Fitzpatrick has a variety of financing packages that work with any budget. Plus, they provide peace of mind with a lifetime guarantee on materials and labor for your new windows. You can have it all. Visit TrustPJ.com for a free design consultation. That's TrustPJ.com.
Here's the latest from the KDKA Community Message Board.
Imagine growing up without seeing a ball game, visiting a museum, or exploring a zoo. For thousands of kids in our community, the cost of admission makes these experiences impossible. Tickets for Kids changes that. Donating tickets to under-resourced youth through schools and social service agencies. Learn more at ticketsforkids.org. Stay in the heart of Pittsburgh at the Landing Hotel at Rivers Casino, located steps away from Acroshore Stadium, PNC Park, and the nightlife of the North Shore. They're the perfect spot for your entertainment needs. Visit thelandinghotelpgh.com to book your stay today. Looking for an incredible Pittsburgh fresh-made hoagie? Visit Tim's Corner Market in Beachview. Fresh house-made bread stacked high with the finest meats and premium toppings and packed with Pittsburgh flavor at Tim's Corner Market on Broadway Avenue in Beachview.
Details at KDKARadio.com.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/life.
Nobody had to tell your grandparents not to drive while using their typewriters. Why should it be any different for us kids and our cell phones? Distracted driving was the cause of more than 3,000 deaths in 2022. Come on, we're smarter than this. Let's put down the phones and focus on the roads. Drive safe, everybody.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Tune in to 1020 KDKA Radio for Medical Frontiers with Dr. Gerald Pfeiffer from the Allegheny Health Network every Monday from 7 to 8 p.m. Dr. Pfeiffer and his special guests will cover the information that you want to know about your health and the latest trends in medicine.
SchultzFord.com, 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 SchultzFord.com.
Eight 866-391-1020. Phone lines are open as we head towards what would normally be the last hour, but right now, this day, this Sunday, this show is going to be halftime. I'm here till 6. So we got time to talk. 866-391-1020. Ken in Lower Borough, you're on KDK.
Lenny, yeah, hey, Anthony, I'm an ultra mega, and there's certain things I like to listen to about him because he's a pretty intelligent guy on some stuff. I'm a blue-collar, working-class Republican at this point, so pretty much you can't really relate to the stuff I say because most of the stuff I talk about from the streets, and it's true. You can't really dispute it. I'm just saying in general.
Are you talking about me?
Yeah, let's just say in general a DJ of any point at time, anybody in your position.
In my position,
I kind of agree. With Anthony.
Ken, I'm not a DJ. There's no records. Wooka wooka wooka. I'm not scratching any records
here.
Where
are we? Fuzzy Bear. That's years ago. But anyway, I
now wooka wooka I was scratching the record. I wasn't saying waka waka. Waka waka was Fozzie Bear.
I'm pretty old.
There you go. Beat Street. That kind of thing. Electric Boogaloo.
Well, yeah, that's not. But anyway, yeah, I can see where if there's a problem, and the Schumer-type Democrats could get blamed, and that would put more of a divide in the Democratic Party from the AOC Democrats. I see what he's saying on that end.
No, I see what he's saying.
And I like that concept. I never thought of it like that.
Well, that might be what the political strategists are thinking. At the same exact time, you know how it goes. It stops at the president. So if something happens and 250 people are harmed because the government shut down and air traffic controllers are calling off from work, they're going to go to the FAA head, which is an appointee of a Republican president, and there's going to be blame there. Because part of what could also be said, now granted, I understand what Anthony's saying. They could say you needed 5 Democrats. You couldn't find 5 people to reopen the government. We've been going through this, food stamps and jobs and everything else, and airports. You can make that argument. The other side of the argument is going to be you all signed a bill that gave tax cuts to very rich people in July, but you decided not to do this intentionally because you were playing a political game.
Well,
so, that argument's going to be made, too.
The Democratic Party is well off or well-to-do, so that would be a lot of the Democrats.
They're only going to be, but they didn't vote for that bill. I'm just saying
look at both sides are getting these tax breaks apparently.
Yeah, but we're talking about who's voting for it, Ken. Let's not amalgamate things all of a sudden. What I'm saying is if there's going to be blame to be made, there's going to be that was an SAT word, but I only got anywho. That said, there's going to be blame and arguments made on how to blame Democrats for not finding 5 votes and Republicans for not taking care of this when they signed these huge tax cuts into law in July. It's just, and that's, again, going to be the further trench that is dug where people will dig in from there if it goes down that path. That's all I'm saying.
You're talking that, and I'm talking boots on the ground, on the street. The poor people of this country, middle class and lower income people, I don't care what president was in, Biden or Trump. You can make this argument. Everything is higher here, and we're being run. And you can say we've had a Republican here or there as governor. This area has been run for 90 years by Democrats. I go 100 miles in any direction out of this state. Everything's cheaper.
I get that, Ken, but now you're mixing. But well, elect me for office, and I promise you I will do something about it.
So
But
you'll get gas down to $2.50 like it is in Ohio or West Virginia.
I would tell you this: if you're going to play this game with me, I would tell you that I would not be sitting there pointing the finger at the other side. I'd be doing something a little different. I'd probably be negotiating a little bit more behind closed doors. I'd probably be talking to people that people wouldn't expect me to talk to, because unlike what you think, these DJs like I am spinning these records, wooka wooka wooka, I actually am in the streets as well. And I talk to everyday people, and I talk to working class people because I am one of those folks, by the way.
What are they
That's
saying?
why. Number one, things are getting more expensive. Number two, they do not trust politicians by and large at all. Number three,
100% on both sides.
number three, they do not believe that things are getting any better because they don't feel like the people that are in elected office are trying to make things any better. They feel like they're not being heard, they're not being listened to, and they're not being worked with.
Do you feel like your elected officials on both sides of the aisle in Pennsylvania are doing something for you right now?
I think the majority of them are playing typical political games, and I think that's a scourge across the United States of America. And I think it's not unique. I don't think it's unique here. I think it's something that I've seen elsewhere. Do I think that all of them are like that? No, because I'm not going to paint with that broad brush. But I do think, generally speaking, people have gotten into their bunkers, people have gotten into their silos, and whether it's at the federal level, the state level, or the local level, that's exactly how people not only act when they're in office, but unfortunately, Ken, that's how people vote when it's time to vote.
Well, I keep bringing up on the morning shows, and Anthony hears me, and I kept pushing this thing, and I keep saying this rainy day fund that has been in place for this state for freaking decades. I did the math this morning. If we use 7 million people in Pennsylvania that could collect a check, each one of them would get $1,000. Do you not think that would stimulate? That's state money. That's Pennsylvania's. We've paid into that. I mean, wouldn't that help the people of Pennsylvania that are on the streets today?
I brought up listen, Ken, I got to go to break. I brought up the same thing about the rainy day fund when it comes to schools. We have emergency funds that we can't tap into. I mean, they made the same argument at the federal level. We have emergency funds for SNAP that people won't tap into. Now, to your point before I go to break, and this is your point and Anthony's point, and I appreciate both of you all's phone calls. I'll get to others after the news. If something were to tragically happen, there's going to be narratives on both sides. They're going to make a narrative as to why couldn't you find five Democrats to vote for this? 5. And there's going to be arguments to be made. You gave billions of dollars of tax cuts to rich people. You couldn't find a little bit of money for these subsidies? The arguments are going to be made. And in the vast majority of congressional districts, it's not going to matter because they're not going to be competitive. In the vast majority of state House rep seats and state Senate seats, it's not going to matter because they're not competitive. Because the kings and queens got the right to draw their own fiefdoms, which is insane. And there's no term limits, which is insane. Yeah, everybody's losing faith in the average politician. Not every politician. I didn't say every. I said average politician. And yes, that can and should change. And I wasn't trying to necessarily have a campaign speech on here that Ken threw me into. But not everybody operates like that. Maybe it'd be nice if we had more people that didn't operate like that. Now I'm going to halftime. Strike up the band, i.e. the news, on News Radio KDKA.
The Village at St. Barnabas, the perfect place for mom.
Warm up with some great November savings at Coons Market. Isn't that right, Frank Dentisi?
Right, Rob. Save with your Coons Reward Card. Jumbo fresh party cut chicken wings, $1.88 a pound. Fresh sweet blueberries, 1 pint package, $1.99 each. And Duncan Hines Classic Cake or Brownie Mix, 15.25 to 18.3 ounce boxes, 99 cents each. Additional savings in our meat department. 80% lean fresh ground beef, $4.99 a pound. And farm-raised fresh salmon fillets, $9.99 a pound. In the produce department, Jumbo Sunkissed Navel Oranges are 5 for $5, and selected varieties of Little Leaf Farms leaf lettuce, 4-ounce packages, 2 for $7. In the deli department, yellow or white Boar's Head American cheese is $6.79 a pound. And this week, selected varieties of Progresso Rich and Hearty soups, 18.5 to 19-ounce cans, 2 for $3.
So warm up with some great November savings at Coons Market. Coons Market, your neighborhood grocer. Coons Market, a Pittsburgh tradition.
listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Heather Bosch. 2 Major League Baseball players face criminal charges.
And that's strikeout number 2 for Luis Ortiz.
Cleveland Guardians pitchers Luis Ortiz and Emmanuel Clase were indicted today for allegedly taking bribes to give sports gamblers advance notice of the types of pitches they'd throw to ensure successful bets. Both have been on paid leave since July. During the investigation, they could spend decades in prison. The government shutdown enters its 40th day.
It's just terrible. I feel like the American people are being held hostage.
It's absurd. I think it's a complete failure of government, and the government's serving itself and not the people. It's driving me nuts.
Thousands of flights are being canceled as air traffic controllers call in sick or retire rather than work without pay. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy ordered a 4% reduction in flights, which will go to 10% Friday. And come Thanksgiving, he tells Fox News.
As everyone wants to travel to see their families, I think we're going to see air traffic controllers, very few of them coming to work, which means, yes, you'll have a few flights taking off and landing at our different airports across the country. But the thousands of flights that happen every day to move people around the country for this great American holiday, it's not going to happen.
SNAP food benefits are on hold while the courts work out whether they will be fully or partially paid for with emergency funds. Many are turning to food banks. Jeff Smith operates one in North Texas.
I think we're equipped to kind of serve the community short term, but no food bank is prepared to do this long term. We're just not set up to serve those large numbers of people without the community support.
British Broadcasting Corporation Director Tim Davie and CEO Deborah Turnus have resigned. It comes amid controversy about the way a speech by President Trump was edited, among other complaints. Israel says the Red Cross has received the remains of a hostage in Gaza after Hamas said it would release the body of Hadar Golden, an Israeli soldier killed in 2014. There's now word that Israel has identified the remains as being those of Golden, leaving 4 hostages' bodies still in Gaza. Bitter cold is descending on parts of the central U.S. Meteorologist Craig Allen adds.
We have alerts for snow, whether it be a winter weather advisory or lake effect snow advisories. It extends all the way across western and northern New York State. It goes down into northwest Pennsylvania, but focusing in on Chicago now. It has been upgraded to a winter storm warning, and this is the first time that a winter storm warning has been issued for the month of November in the last 7 years.
He says this is due to a polar vortex coming down from Canada. This is CBS News.
Brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Not only does Progressive let you bundle your insurance, they also give you round-the-clock protection. Quote today at Progressive.com.
Vanity Fair calls BritBox a delicious streamer. Collider says everyone should be watching. Catch Britain's next best series with BritBox. Stream acclaimed new originals like Code of Silence.
You read lips, right?
And Linley, based on the best-selling mystery series.
Yeah, Linley. Take it from here.
And don't miss the new season of Karen Piri, coming this October.
You don't look like police. I'll take that as a compliment.
See it differently when you stream the best of British TV with BritBox. Watch with a free trial today.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
A Starbucks holiday cup is going for big bucks. CBS's Stacey Lynn reports.
People are going insane over these cups.
The new Barista Cold Cup came out last week and sold out almost immediately.
Oh my gosh. That's it.
If you couldn't get your paws on one of the $30 reusable tumblers,
the employees took them all before we could even get them.
Resellers have been listing them on eBay for a whole lot of money. Prices on the secondary sites range from $170 to well over $1,000, all for a 20-ounce glass cup that's shaped like a bear holding a Starbucks drink with a lid that looks like a green beanie. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
Wendy's is closing up to 350 of its restaurants. The CEO of the fast food chain made the announcement during an earnings call. He says closing underperforming restaurants will boost sales at other nearby locations. He recently announced a new comprehensive strategic plan to revitalize the brand. I'm Heather Bosch, CBS News.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
This afternoon, mostly cloudy, a couple of showers, high 52. Snow showers overnight tonight, low 30. More for tomorrow, high 35. Partly sunny, plus 336 on Tuesday. For AccuWeather, I'm Bill Dagger, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, heading back to the phone lines, 866-391-1020. As I mentioned, I'm here until 6. There's a multitude of things to talk about, including two shocking. I'm going to talk about the elections from Tuesday, but there's also a rather shocking, actually two, elections that if I have time, I'm going to get to. That's if I have time. But I probably will, because I'll be here until 6. Bonus hour. 866-391-1020. Back to the phones. Joanne in Point Breeze, you're on KDKA.
Oh, my goodness. This process thought, whether it's positive or negative, is just many times ludicrous. First of all, Democrats stay strong. Because why couldn't the Democrats get 5 votes? Why couldn't the Republicans get the 3 that they needed? I mean, this is crazy. Don't give up. Go down not as a wimp and spineless politician. Stay strong. Go out as a leader. I mean, why would you give up? And first of all, it just lately, but I've been hearing people, but I've been talking about this a long time. They still don't have an insurance policy.
But he made the argument as to why. And the why was actually, whether you agree with it or disagree with it, there's merit to it. If there's a tragedy because of the government shutdown via the airline industry, there's going to be enough blame to be shared with all types of folks. And I already said the two arguments that are going to be made, Joanne, are going to be simply this. To the Democrats, it's going to be, you could have gotten 5 votes to reopen the government, had this fight another time, and we could have had safe air travel during the holiday season. Instead, you continued to play politics with people's lives, and now we have lost blank. The flip side, hold on. The flip side is going to be that people are going to look at the Republicans and say, you passed tax cuts for rich people to the tune of billions of dollars, but you couldn't find a way to help poor people get subsidies for the health care that they need when you knew that prices were going to go up. There's going to be enough blame for both sides. What Anthony said was, hey, as a lifelong Democrat, and he did say that, as a lifelong Democrat, this is not the fight that you want to take on because it's already gone on for 40 days, and if you continue this going on, there's going to be a consequence, particularly if there's a tragedy. We're going to wear this, and all the momentum we had from Tuesday is going to be tarnished at the very least if something transpires.
Everybody has their opinion, but that's not mine. I just pretty much
understand
that stay strong. Democrat, whether you're Republican, my family's been a Democrat lifelong, too. I mean, I've even attempted to try to run for office, setting up my thing for write-in vote. But I did it at the last minute, but I still went out there and tried years and years ago.
And we commend you for that.
Yeah, and as I said, I just wanted to do that. And as I said, I was approached by a black Republican, I think I mentioned that before, to join their party and all the benefits and the perks that I could have gotten. But
was it Nas or Jay-Z?
But I said no.
You wouldn't, Joanne. You wouldn't get that joke when you listen to the joke. You ask your grandkids; they'll understand who Nas or Jay-Z with the. I feel like a black Republican. I play the theme song at the beginning of the show every time. Play along. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Joanne.
Okay. All right. That's good. I'll have to look at them and see what you're saying. But anyway, you can say what you're saying. And the other thing, these people still, all the free time they have not brought an insurance anything bill to the table.
That is actually, to your point, Joanne, and didn't mean to cut you off. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Mama MAGA, brought that up again. For 15 years, we've been complaining about Obamacare. We don't have a suitable, tangible plan. The ironic thing is, the dude that probably would have brought it up is the dude they chased out of Congress that used to be Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan. He was supposed to be the whiz kid that was going to figure out that plan. He got chased out during Trump 1.
Well, the other thing I can say, both of them are to blame because how dare you? How dare you take your paycheck, take your perks and your benefits, but I also blame the American people because how come people are sitting outside their doors with signs to say, how dare you? So that it's easy to complain, but I don't see anybody doing anything. As far as the Supreme Court, how dare they get in again in favor of this criminal, this convicted. When I say that, it's not like I'm talking about this man that's not real. He's a convicted criminal.
But Joanne, I've brought this up before. Their job is to look at the law for the next 5 presidents, not just this president.
Well, it seems like it's just president. The last thing I want to say, people are complaining about Trump putting his name on things like that big ball, which is crazy. But if you remember Atlantic City, he owed many people, especially the banks, money when he had all those casinos down there in Atlantic City. Soon as them people got their money, you know what happened? All the casinos that had his name on it, they tore him down. It took a good while, but they got rid of that. And they'll do the same thing with this Trump that wants his name. Stay down Florida, sir. Put your name, hang your sign out in Florida. But as far as people, whoever get in, they'll be able.
Got to go quick,
Okay.
Joanne.
Okay, as soon as they get in, they'll be able to take his name off of anything because everything, he's a bad president and everything he's involved in, it's negative.
Joanne,
Thank you.
I appreciate your phone call. I know you needed a vent, so I'll let you vent. 866-391-1020. Two sides from two very passionate Democrats right there. End the shutdown, live to fight another day, stick to your guns. It's very interesting crossroads that the Democratic Party's at after Tuesday. Because they were expected to win in Jersey, maybe win in Virginia, maybe pull an upset, but not really, in New York City. And if you were a Democrat, and I know that Mondami is a Democratic Socialist, not the same. Looking at you, Sarah, under Monterado and Summerley. But if you're a Democrat, you do have to feel good about after Tuesday night. Because the margins were bigger than what you thought. And when it comes to some of the failures in government, it's clear that Republicans are wearing it. If there's one party that's wearing the albatross right now, it's not the Democrats. And in the theory that Anthony threw out there, there's an argument to be made that you only have a certain amount of time before that albatross goes right back around your neck. Don't miss the deadline. 866-391-1020. Craig in West Virginia, you're on KDKA.
How you doing today, Lenny?
I am doing well, child of God. How are you?
Doing good. You're going to hear words that I don't think I've ever said to you, but you're wrong today. And
you've said that. You've said that before. How dare you? But why am I wrong today?
If there's a plane crash after we hang up this phone, it will be 99.9% pointed at the Republicans, just like Joanne said. Akeem.
Well, hold on. I disagree with that. I'm going to tell you why. And it's very simple math, Craig.
All right.
Because Donald Trump maintains a 40%, doesn't matter what he does, hold on the country. Look at his disapproval ratings. His disapproval ratings are like 62, 63, 64% right now, somewhere in there. That is still 35, 36, 37, 38%. That is still down with him regardless of the economy, regardless of what's going on with issues in Ukraine and Russia, the back and forth with Putin, the back and forth with the Gaza Strip, and of course the economy and the tariffs, and losing with some of these court cases. He still has that. So if there were a tragedy, you're going to still have a sizable portion of the United States, and you're going to have one of your two U.S. senators here in Pennsylvania, not yours because you're in West Virginia, but Pennsylvania saying it's the Democrats' fault. And that's not going to really help anybody, especially if it's a tragedy, but it's also probably not going to hasten getting this government back open. There will be a sizable pushback on both sides of that argument.
Well, you said 40%. I'd take it more down to like 28%, and that's going to be the Kens, the TJs, the Handys that call the show that, just like Trump said, he could shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue, you'd still vote for
But those people are 35, 40% of the country. They're at 35, 40%. They've been there since 2015 in all the primaries. That plurality has always been about the same. And the only reason why it went up a little higher in general elections, because it was, for the most part, people saw it as a binary choice, and they did not like Hillary Clinton. And Kamala Harris was thrown on a ballot at the last minute, and that was after they did not like Joe Biden after 4 years.
Well, let me ask you this. I'm a numbers guy, and you seem to be too. If there's going to be finger pointing, would you rather be the 35% or the 65%?
Well, there's a caveat to that. No, because it's not pure numbers, it's politics. So would you rather be the 35% controlling all aspects of federal government and a majority of the state governments, and your party has access to the largest media outlet in the country and the most successful media outlet in regards to ratings in the country? Or would you rather be the 60 to 65% that is in the minority when it comes to ruling and has not been very good with messaging over the last 5 to 7 years? That's the real question. That's the question. And if that's the question, then you got pros and cons of both sides of that.
Well, but the end result is we got to get the independence. That's what both sides keep saying.
True.
Okay, so Chuck Schumer walks up to the microphone and says Doge and Donald Trump in February of 2025 laid off 400 FAA inspectors. And the next thing you hear is a mic hitting the floor because he just dropped the mic. And at that point, the independents go, wow, maybe that is the problem. So now those people start coming over. But here, I want to make a hard left turn here. I heard you and Anthony talking about 2021 with Joe Biden in office. Why didn't they do something then? That would have been the 117th Congress at that point. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but there were 50 Republican senators, 48 Democratic senators, and 2 independent. Where are the other 10 votes coming from?
Well, the 2 independents would have been people that caucus with the Democrats. So you have 50-50, and then the
48, 50, and 2.
No. The 2 independents caucus with the Democrats. We know who they are. They're Angus King, and they're Bernie Sanders. They caucus with the Democrats. They would have voted with the Democrats. You have a 50-50 tie, and then you would have had Kamala Harris breaking the tie. Now, with that said, you may have, ironically enough, heard a President Biden saying, hey, how we get past this? We can't let the same people that are trying to justify an insurrection on January 6th hold up our government. What we should do for a short period of time is, dare I say it, get rid of the filibuster so we can get stuff done. You may have heard that then. So I'm not saying it would have been the right move, but the numbers were there that if they wanted to make that type of a case with the moral authority after January 6th in 2021, there was an argument to be made that that was the time to strike. Just like when you start talking about immigration with President Obama, he couldn't do anything after 2010. If he was going to fix things the way he wanted to fix things, 2009 was the time to do it. But they put so much political capital into the ACA that by the time the ACA got done and the leaks of all the backroom deals came out, they couldn't do much. And then the next thing you know, the Tea Party train ran a whole lot of people over.
How much time's left on the clock?
There's enough time for me to go to break and put you on hold because you asked the most important question, which was how much time is left on the clock. So, Craig, I will get back to you afterwards, then Michael, then Daryl, then George. Oh, my, when I come back here on News Radio KDK.
Your source for official traffic information. Hear it on News Radio KDKA.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell & Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-999-3339. That's 800-999-3339. Again, that's 800-999-3339.
Did you know you can spend your PA taxes to fund a scholarship for a child in need and get a 90% tax credit refund? Through Blocks, that's BLOCS, you can direct your state tax liability, fund a scholarship, direct it to the tuition-based school of your choice, and receive a 90% refund on the donated amount. It's a simple process, and you can fund a scholarship that will change a child's life. Tax credit slots are filling up fast, and you must make your commitment by December 23rd. Head to BLOCS.org now.
Already dreaming of your big summer 2026 family trip? The best homes are booking up right now. Oceanfront beach houses in the Outer Banks, sprawling lake houses in Deep Creek, and family fun condos in Myrtle Beach. When you book your dream home directly with SWAC Vacations, you not only get your first choice of dates, you save up to 15% compared to the big travel sites. Lock in your perfect summer getaway. Lock in your savings now. Get the house you want, the price you deserve. SWACK, SWACvacations.com.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
All right, Craig, finish up.
Ken, over the last couple of weekends, talk about Democrats running PA and the price of gas over and over and over. Now, let's take a look at where I'm from, West Virginia. The highest number of Republicans in Congress of any other state. Now, let's see what our accomplishments are. Last in education. The most people leaving the state per capita of any other state. The highest percentage of cancer, highest percentage of lung disease, the highest percentage per capita of people on SNAP. So they can talk about that all they want.
Yeah, but that West Virginia's been towards the bottom for a very long time, specifically once the coal industry started taking a little bit of a dive. So, I mean, and back then, the state was deep blue, not deep red. So again, that's misleading. I understand where you're going. People make the same arguments about Mississippi and Alabama and Louisiana. And yeah, there are arguments to be made that some of the policies that they put into place do not allow those people to get out of poverty as fast as they could or get the help that they need as fast as they could. But it's not like those states were like in the middle of the pack when they were led by Democrats, and then all of a sudden they were run by Republicans and they got to like 48th, 49th, and 50th when it comes to education.
Well, when the steel mills or coal mines were booming, who was the governor? The Democrats. And our governor,
yeah,
Arch Moore.
but I get that. But one final thing, Craig, before I got to let you go. I mean, again, it's, okay, the steel mills were booming in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and half the world wasn't accessible to us geoeconomically because of the Cold War. So we had a monopoly on a lot of products going around the world. And on top of that, after World War II, we were rebuilding everybody, which meant that there was a lot of demand on our resources, which meant that we could work when others could not because they were the ones doing the rebuilding.
And when we finally did elect a Republican governor, Arch Moore, he ended up in federal prison. Somewhere you got to connect the dots.
Yeah, and I can say I can trade you your Moore in West Virginia for Rod Blagojevich in Illinois, and other governors in Illinois, and they crossed both sides of the aisle. They were doing their 2 steps into downstate to the state prison, both Republicans and Democrats alike. I think at one point in time in Illinois, 3 out of 4 governors went to jail. So I understand what you're trying to say. There's an argument to be made that the policies are not good. But some of these states were down there for a while. These weren't new numbers. Okay, so now I'm at a crossroads because I have 3 minutes left. I got 4 people on the line. And I don't really know what I want to do. I get what I will do is Michael in Wexford. I will start you off. I'll let you make your point. If you're quick and you want to be quick, you're on. Otherwise, you can make your point and maybe I'll keep you. But for now, you're on KDK.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm calling to strongly dispute your statement that Donald Trump passed tax cuts for the wealthy. If you look at the tax brackets, every bracket would have gone up. They would have sunset at 12/31 of this year. Everyone's taxes stayed down, and it was not a tax cut for the rich. That's a false statement.
But at the same exact time, you're telling me that with it not sunsetting, that money that was supposed to be coming into the coffers to cover the federal debt, you're telling me that money's still coming in that way?
I'm telling you that had the big, beautiful bill not passed with those tax cuts, which I fully supported, literally every tax bracket from the lowest tax bracket to the highest would have increased on January 1st of next year. That is a fact.
With a higher burden going on the people that were at the higher rungs of the tax bracket, correct?
First of all, 50% of Americans don't pay federal taxes.
No, did you, Michael, did you answer my question? Because I answered yours. No, I mentioned your fact. Then I asked you a question.
The lowest tax bracket is marginal tax rate is 10%. It would have gone to 12%.
Okay.
You do the math. Every taxpayer would have seen a significant increase of average of 60% over all those brackets. Had that.
No, I didn't touch a button. My hands are right here. Of course,
it's been proven historically. Every time tax rates are cut, tax rates go down, tax revenues go up.
Except for hold on, Michael, because you want to confound facts. Except for one thing. Except for when you put tariffs in place at rates like this that literally have your job market screeching to a halt. When you had 5 months last year that added over 200,000 jobs per month, and you haven't had one that's added more than 158,000 jobs in a month, all of 2025. So you want to take, Michael, you want to take facts from Reagan and facts from other conservatives and apply it to somebody that does not use conservative principles to adjudicate and to run government, administer government.
Okay. I didn't call about tariffs. I'll be happy to debate that.
You called about the economy, and then you called about tax revenue. I'm going to break, but you called about tax revenue, and you called about things coming into the coffers at a higher rate. And I refuted that by saying, except for the fact that when you put these level of tariffs into place, it's going to refute what you're trying to make a case of. You don't get to come in here and try to make a complex argument, and then when I kind of beat you at the pass, say, well, that's not what I meant. It is what you meant. But I appreciate your call. Well, that was kind of quick. George Sam Darrow, I'll get you after the news on News Radio KDK.
Here's the latest from the KDKA Community Message Board.
Imagine growing up without seeing a ball game, visiting a museum, or exploring a zoo. For thousands of kids in our community, the cost of admission makes these experiences impossible. Tickets for Kids changes that. Donating tickets to under-resourced youth through schools and social service agencies. Learn more at ticketsforkids.org.
Stay in the heart of Pittsburgh at the Landing Hotel at Rivers Casino, located steps away from Acroshore Stadium, PNC Park, and the nightlife of the North Shore. They're the perfect spot for your entertainment needs. Visit thelandinghotelpgh.com to book your stay today. Looking for an incredible Pittsburgh fresh-made hoagie? Visit Tim's Corner Market in Beachview. Fresh house-made bread stacked high with the finest meats and premium toppings and packed with Pittsburgh flavor at Tim's Corner Market on Broadway Avenue in Beachview.
Details at KDKARadio.com.
Bill Hillgrove here. If you're retired or helping a parent plan for retirement, it's time to talk about a reverse mortgage from Federated Reverse Mortgage. I went through it myself, and I get it. The idea can feel confusing, but here's the truth. With reverse mortgage, homeowners 62 or older can access the equity in their home tax-free to improve cash flow, pay off debt, or just enjoy life more comfortably. And no, you don't lose your home, you stay in it. I trusted Craig Schweiger and his team at Federated. Craig's been guiding Pittsburgh families for over 35 years, and they treat you and your loved ones with care, clarity, and respect. Whether you're planning for your own retirement or helping mom or dad understand their options, this is a conversation worth having. Call 833-888-0801 or visit fedreverse.com to schedule your free consultation. That's what I did. Equal housing lender. Reverse mortgages are subject to eligibility.
Join Rob Pratt every Sunday at 11 a.m. for Black and Gold Sunday, presented by Coons Market, your hometown Pittsburgh grocer. Rob keeps you posted on Pittsburgh sports with 2 hours of exciting talk. That's Black and Gold Sunday, 11 to 1, presented each week by Coons Market.
From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
CBS News Brief. 2 Major League Baseball pitchers have been indicted on charges they took bribes to give sports bettors advance notice. One is Emmanuel Clase.
Here, Emmanuel Clase will take over on the hill, the flamethrower here in the 4th. Here's the 3-2 strike, 3 call.
The other is Luis Ortiz. Both pitched for the Cleveland Guardians. Former NFL Commissioner Paul Tagliabue has died. In 1990, he testified before Congress during a hearing on gambling in sports.
Nothing has done more to despoil the games Americans play and watch than widespread gambling on them.
Tagliabue was 84. The government shutdown has caused numerous delays and flight cancellations. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy tells CNN it's only going to get worse.
I look to the 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, you're going to see air travel be reduced to a trickle.
Senators have been holding a rare Sunday session today to try to find a way to end the government shutdown. CBS News Brief, I'm Linda Kenyon.
Listen up, football fans. You won't want to miss this.
Right now, new Bet365 customers bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. So you could turn that $200 into something bigger when you bet on money line, spread, totals, player props.
$200 in bonus bets when new customers bet $5. I know where I'm going to bet from now on. Download the app today and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Pennsylvania. TNC Supply. In-app only.
Prescription products require completion of an online medication consultation with an independent healthcare provider through the LifeMD platform and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Individual results may vary. Additional restrictions apply at lifemd.com. Read all warnings before using GLP-1s. Side effects may include a risk of thyroid C-cell tumors. Do not use GLP-1s if you or your family have a history of thyroid cancer.
Confused on where to start with weight loss medication? 95% of LifeMD patients said starting their weight loss journey was simple. Go to trylifemd.com now and see the best options with or without insurance for Wegovy, Zepbound, and more. Brian was approved for insurance coverage and lost 100 pounds.
I love the fact that insurance covered almost everything because pharmaceutical prices are going through the roof. The first time I realized that LifeMD was working for me was when the hunger started going away. I never thought losing weight would be this easy. It's given me more energy. I would recommend LifeMD to anybody.
Nearly 96% of patients said they would recommend the LifeMD program to anyone who wants to lose weight. Get started right now at trylifemd.com. That's TRYLIFEMD.com.
Experience casino like never before at Bet365. Spin your way through your favorite games. Check out our awesome table games and face off against a real live dealer. And play exclusive games that you simply can't play anywhere else. New Bet365 players get a 100% deposit match bonus up to $1,000 plus spins. Download the app and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically present in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. T&Cs apply.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
My name is Emma. I am 13 years old. 6 years ago, I was injured in a car accident that left me paralyzed from the waist down. Once I completed rehab, my mom applied for a Canine Companion service dog. Last January, I finally got to meet my service dog, Marcia. We quickly developed a very strong bond. Together, we go to my horseback riding lessons, school band practice, swim meets, and archery classes. Together, we pick vegetables, and we like to cut flowers. I love Marcia. She makes me feel like together we can do anything. I can't imagine life without her. She's a part of the family. We are just one of the thousands of teams Canine Companions has paired together over the past 50 years. With your help, we can continue for another 50. Visit canine.org to see the many ways you can change lives.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
For tonight, rain showers give way to snow showers, and any heavier snow shower late could make for some slippery roads and reduction in visibility, low at 30 degrees. Snow showers tomorrow, breezy and colder, high 35. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Matt Benz, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
What's up, America? It's Rich Valdez. On our next show, we're joined by the well-known scholar Dr. Carol Swain. She recently debated Black Lives Matter in a room full of college students, and she won. She's going to tell us exactly how that went down. All of that's coming up with me on the next Rich Valdez. Monday night at 10 p.m. on 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, coming back after the break. I get another 90 minutes here. Phone lines are open, 866-391-1020. Going back to the phones. First, I'm going to Sam in South Park. Sam, you're on KDK.
Hey, how are you?
How are you?
Good. I think, and I'm wondering what you think as well. I think that these past elections with Mamdani and New Jersey and Virginia, it's a reflection that I think the country is more ready for socialist type policies that don't come across as socialists, and that we're tired of being of corrupt politicians that are funded by dark money, foreign money, and just people who aren't ready, who aren't on the side of the United States.
So I agree with number two. They're sick of big money politics. They want people that they can touch, they can feel, and they can relate to. I think that people have been wanting that for a while. Truth be told, Donald Trump called himself a blue-collar billionaire, and there were people that bought into it. Barack Obama was shooting basketball with the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill's basketball team, and people bought into it. Bill Clinton was playing a saxophone on a late night show. People bought into it. Barack Obama was singing a song. Al Green, Let's Stay Together. On Jim, or he was singing something else on, I think it was Jimmy Fallon. People bought into it. They want that. Right. So yes, they are definitely looking for more of that, and they need that to come into play. Now the flip side to that is, I think the first thing you say I disagree with. I think that they're less looking for socialistic policies. Specifically, they're starting to think that they're never going to get their cut of the American dream. They don't feel like if I do things the way my parents and grandparents did, that it's going to ever work out for me. So they're like, I still want it. I still want to buy a house. I still want to be able to get a job. I still want to be able to afford to have a decent life. And if the only way I'm going to get it is something that's a lot more socialistic than I ever thought I would buy into or vote for, then so be it. That's where I think they are. But if you told them, I can give this to you through a free market solution that makes sense for you and your family and it's sustainable, I still think they would go in that direction, because the truth of the matter is the average American, I still think is a free market capitalist that likes nice things and is willing to spend money in the economy if they have money to spend.
I agree with that. I just think that socialism has been painted in a really, really dirty way when it really isn't. If you think about socialism as a whole, right? It's really whatever country first, right? If we as the country of the United States were to become a socialist democracy, we would scoop up companies and sectors that cost the American people money. For example, the oil and energy that we provide, that we have in this country, we just give it away for free. And now on top of that, we give money to these multi-billion, multinational corporations to just take what we have in this country and sell it back to us. I think that's something that the United States should take over. We should take over energy. We should take over.
But to your point, Sam, you just said they were multinational corporations, right? So if they were to try to nationalize them, you wouldn't be able to buy them completely, because you'd only be buying a portion of that multinational corporation. So that would mean that much of the rest of that business would be shoved off shores, which means that revenue would not be on shores. And when you start talking about being well, yes, that is exactly how business works. So when you start talking about hold on, Sam. So when you start talking about that transpiring, now all of a sudden the largest economy in the world and the largest military in the world doesn't quite have the same amount of the largest revenue in the world coming into play because of that type of move. That's what's at risk if you start trying to throw the word nationalization out there, because that's what you're advocating for. You start doing that, and you said it yourself, these organizations, these geoeconomic organizations, are multinational. They would very simply offshore a lot of their operations and a lot of their wealth. They've already done that previously because of our tax rates. If you nationalize things, you're going to put that on steroids.
No. That's the conception. That's the conventional way of looking at things.
Tell me why that wouldn't happen. Tell me why that wouldn't happen. Well, literally, other than having a revolution like you had in Iran. And by the way, when they tried to nationalize stuff in Iran, literally you got one guy killed, you installed the Shah, and then you ended up having a backlash of an Islamic revolution some 25 years later.
This is why socialism is painted with a dirty brush. It doesn't have to be like that. We are the richest country on earth
right now,
which means that we can Which means we can buy anything we want.
If it's for sale, you can't buy everything you want because everything's not for sale.
Well,
so you're talking about taking it over.
Government. Well, I think that as the American government, if we see something that is of national security, we go to wars abroad for national security all the time. We spend billions and trillions, at this point, trillions of dollars for wars abroad, right?
And how have the American people taken to going to the Middle East in both the 1990s and the 2000s over going to what was perceived as going to war over oil? Exactly. So if you're now talking about taking resources, because I can tell you how this would play out. So wait a minute. You want to take billions of dollars out of the national coffers to buy a business when we could take a fraction of that money and house every homeless person in the United States of America. We could take a fraction of that money and make sure everybody's not hungry. So you're telling me we should instead spend that money on a business and run a business as well as we run the DMV. That's the other thing that happens when you have companies that are run by governments. You end up having all this dysfunction and things that end up transpiring in a very less than optimal way because of the bureaucracy. We talk about government right now having that. Now you want to nationalize organizations?
Do you agree with the people who say that we need to run this government like a business?
No, I don't. And I've always said that. And the reason why I said because you can't fire citizens. I've said that for 20 years.
We do that all the time.
We
hire and fire citizens all the time,
which is wrong.
They're called police officers. They're called military personnel.
No. We're talking about citizens. No, we're talking about citizenship. You cannot run government.
I'm not talking about citizenship.
I am, because when you're talking about government and you're talking about the functions of government and you're talking about the services of government. It is different than just the services provided by a private business that can afford to go out of business and somebody else will fill that void from a business perspective. There is no such thing as a government in the United States of America that can fill the void of protecting constitutionality, protecting civil rights, protecting the type of things that we have built our country on. So therefore, when you start talking about providing a service as a government, it has to take a different fiduciary responsibility and outlook on providing services than a traditional business would.
I'm told that subsidies are terrible for the American people, right? The ACA subsidies, they want to get rid of that. They don't care if people go starving during the Christmas, Thanksgiving time. They don't care about that. But then again, I'm also told that subsidies are great for oil companies, for coal companies, and those are never on the chopping block.
Well, for some people they are. I mean, people talk about that all the time.
No, I mean never.
Sam, that's not true.
Ever.
Sam, that's not true. People bring that all the time up with farmers. Literally, people that voted for Trump in the heart.
I'm talking about national politics and policies.
I'm telling. That's what I'm. It is brought up from time to time. It is brought up. The oil subsidies are brought up.
Has brought up cutting.
Now the argument that you can ask Sam is, and look, I'm going to have to let you go. I'm thoroughly thrilled and enthralled with this conversation, as you can tell, but I'm only going to let you go because I'm going to break and I got other callers. But here's the thing. Now, asking, has the conversation gone far? No. Why? Because there's other politicians that are getting PAC money from said oil companies, from said farmers. I mean, it's the same thing with ethanol. You know, there are times where they're talking about we could put it into the gas, but then there's other times where the argument goes against that. You do hear about people, and it's all a lot of times driven by politics. But yes, there have been people that have talked about the oil subsidies. There are people that have talked about the farm subsidies. There are people that have talked about those subsidies. I'll give you an example. Michelle Bachmann, when she ran for president, was all about trying to talk about certain subsidies and certain industries being subsidized. And she was specifically talking about those type of industries, but didn't want to touch the farm subsidies because, heaven forbid, she was from Minnesota. And she didn't want to start pissing off Minnesota farmers. And people have done those type of things, picking and choosing which subsidies they want to attack. Now, in this instance, you have a block of politicians that are talking about the subsidies for the premiums that they're saying are bad, while at the same exact time, to your point, saying that these subsidies goose the economy, or the subsidies we provide for the farmers allow the farmers to be able to continue to be in business. That is hypocrisy from a philosophical standpoint. So your point is well taken. But there are people that have brought this up over the years, even fairly recently.
Last question.
Very quickly.
Would you prefer that Americans get these subsidies, or we cut giving funds to Israel and other foreign countries like Argentina. Should we stop funding them and start focusing on us, do you think?
I think
maybe that's probably a good idea.
I think as the United States of America, Sam, as the United States of America, you should be able to do both. The bottom line is, as the largest military and the largest economy in the world, you have an obligation to ensure that you can influence global peace as much as you possibly can. And hold on, you asked me a question, and I'm answering your question, Sam. You have an obligation to try to ensure global peace as much as possible and global economic peace as much as possible. At the same exact time, yes, there is an obligation to be able to make sure that your citizens are able to have that pursuit of happiness that's named in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution stands on. There should be a way to be able to do both while at the same exact time, well, what you really ideally want to cut is the cost of health care. The whole thing of the ACA was supposed to be to drive the cost of health care down. That has not transpired. So that's the failure of what happened 20 years ago.
For all, right?
Well, I didn't say that, and I appreciate your call, Sam, because I got to go to break, but the bottom line is the costs were supposed to be attacked. Much like with COVID, we're bending the curve. We're just trying to flatten the curve for a couple of weeks. Well, the curve never really got flattened. It was just a bunch of lockdowns, and we still had the issues that we had. Now, it could have been worse without the lockdowns, but my point is, the goal of what the ACA was supposed to be for was to bring the cost down. That did not transpire. The whole purpose of cash for clunkers and some of the other things that we have with the bailouts was supposed to goose the economy. That didn't really happen. Go look at the job numbers back then. So if we're talking about a resolution, it's about, in the instance of healthcare, let's find a way to finally plateau the costs. I'm not saying that's very easy, but that is the goal. In regards to foreign investment, Israel's one thing. They're our ally. Bailing out South American companies, or countries, I should say, that's a different discussion. 866-391-1020. Thank you for the intellectual exercise. I'm exhausted. No, I'm not. I'm ready for more phone calls, but I got to go to break after this on News Radio KDKA.
It's the little things. The information you need. People you know. The little things that make a big difference. The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Nobody had to tell your grandparents not to drive while using their typewriters. Why should it be any different for us kids and our cell phones? Distracted driving was the cause of more than 3,000 deaths in 2022. Come on, we're smarter than this. Let's put down the phones and focus on the roads. Drive safe, everybody.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
Back to the phones, George. You're on KDK.
Lenny, your head got to be spinning. I know mine is. I'm trying to hang on to everything that's going on and being said, plus everything else. It's a lot out there, huh?
There is a lot out there. There is a lot out there.
I'll come to the self-actualization. Everything I thought that could have occurred maybe 50 years ago in time, it's never going to happen. And that could be everything from a little bit of socialized medicine, a little bit of just decriminalizing marijuana, not legalizing it, so everybody gets rich off it, and so many other real things. A two-state maybe situation for Palestinians. These are things I honestly used to think about in 73, 74, 5 when I was just graduating even beforehand. And it's never going to happen. It just seems.
Well, I don't know if it's never going to happen, George. I think the bottom line is, some of this stuff is driven by high-dollar investments, to be quite honest with you. There's a lot of money that goes into to the conflict in Israel, the conflict on the West Bank, the conflict on the Gaza Strip, the conflict in the Middle East overall. There's a lot of money that goes back and forth in the fighting, the keeping in place of the immigration issue, of the healthcare issue. No one's trying to win the tug of war. They're just trying to win a little bit of land, a little bit of space, getting the knot a little bit more on their side, versus saying, how do we win the tug of war? How do we get stronger? How do we weaken them in a way that makes sense? And I don't know. I think it could happen. Other things that we thought would never happen have happened, so keep the faith in, if you will.
I don't know. I'm really starting to scratch my head. I have a pretty good friend, and a lot of my friends, believe me, acquaintances, I call them now, they're all Trumpers, and they're blue-collar guys. They did a switch years ago, and I didn't want to get out and all that. But one always hits me with those Fox talking points that our man was talking about before. I forget his name, from Philadelphia. He calls all the time. He's interesting. And it's about the immigrants getting free this, free that.
Luciano calls.
Luciano, right. And my buddy says that they get all that. I said, I remember hearing that on a conservative talk show back like 06, 08, when I used to listen to Hannity a lot and Dr. Michael Savage. When Hillary was, it had to be after 09, when Hillary was kind of in again. And, geez, did that really occur for a while? I never could find out much on that.
The truth is, do those that are here illegally have an opportunity to benefit from living in America? Yes. Are they living like citizens? Are they voting? I mean, the same argument is they're getting all the benefits that Americans aren't getting. They're getting all the food stamps that Americans aren't getting. They're using all the health care that Americans aren't able to access, and they're voting in our elections. If you notice, it's literally a square that boxes us in. Those are the four sides of it. So when you start looking at that and you're saying, okay, well, are they really voting in our elections to the clip that you're claiming that they are? I mean, there's an argument to be made. And I've heard stories of this. You go into a border state, and there are schools where there's 30 kids that go out for a class, and there are 32 that come back. I've talked to educators, and I go across the country with education. I've talked to educators that have talked about that, where they have literally heard of stories where you go out with 100 kids for recess, you come back with 107. You don't know where they come from, and you're trying to figure out who they are. You can't really do anything with them. They stay there. Next day they're in class, and you find out they're quote-unquote enrolled because they live in the area. Now, are they taking up resources because they go to a public school when they're paying rent? So, yes, there's things that are obviously broken with it, George. I'm going to hold you on and hold you after the break because you may have another point. That said, and this is the challenge, and I understand what George is saying, and others at 866-391-1020, I understand where you may be coming from as well. You can't ever really give up the faith that things are going to get fixed, and it kind of goes back to the earlier caller. If you do, it makes sense for people to say, I don't want to do this free markets thing anymore. It ain't going to ever work for me. Why not be a democratic socialist? Why not just go to socialism? Why not just have the government do a lot more for me? We'll talk more about that. Last hour, bonus hour coming up after the news. News Radio, KDKA.
The Village at St. Barnabas, the perfect place for mom.
You could think you found your dream home online. The kitchen island looks perfect for your inner chef. The backyard, a paradise for your green thumb. And that extra room, hello walk-in closet. But here's the twist. The lot next door just got rezoned for years of construction. And this sound, you're going to be hearing a lot of that. Don't let your dream home turn into a nightmare. Work with the expertise and ethical training of a Realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors, right by you.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
If you're thinking about retiring soon, be sure to tune into the Net Worth Financial Hour with Beth Andrews of Net Worth Advisors, Saturdays at 1. Beth talks about the latest trends and headlines that could impact your retirement. Don't go into retirement unprepared. Listen every Saturday afternoon at 1 to the Net Worth Financial Hour with Beth Andrews of Net Worth Advisors. Firm offers insurance services. Net Worth Advisors, LLC, is a registered investment advisor.
New to Medicare, get covered with MediConnect. Listen Wednesdays around 1:40 to hear Lance O'Brien of MediConnect help you navigate the Medicare process. Simply great, unbiased information to get you the best healthcare coverage. Get covered with MediConnect. Medicare made simple.
100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA. Covered by JP Roofing and Siding. Pittsburgh's #1 platinum roofing company. Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Linda Kenyon. The government shutdown has led to a cascade of flight delays and cancellations. Travelers like this woman in Charlotte, North Carolina are incensed.
This is the United States government. Are you kidding me? The United States of America cannot pay its people? That's shameful.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy tells CNN that delays and flight cancellations are unavoidable.
The problem is that as I try to reduce the pressure by lowering flights, I have more controllers that keep not coming to work. And so the pressure goes back up again.
U.S. airlines have canceled more than 2,100 flights today, along with more than 7,000 delays. More than 40 million Americans rely on food stamps. They're caught up in a web of confusion over their benefits during the government shutdown. Minnesota Democratic Congresswoman Angie Craig says the Trump administration is making a bad situation even worse.
USDA overnight issued a memorandum telling states not to distribute the full benefits, when in fact they had issued one the day before saying to do it. So Minnesota has distributed those funds. This is cruel. It's heartless on the part of the administration.
Mary Sirocco in Sunland, California is trying to help feed those whose food benefits have been cut. She's turned her little free book library into a free food depository.
I've been homeless before. I've been on food stamps before. I've been impoverished before. And I know what it's like. I just want people to eat if they need to eat.
Senators on Capitol Hill are working today to try to end the government shutdown. 2 Major League Baseball pitchers have been indicted on bribery charges.
Here, Emmanuel Clase will take over on the hill, the flamethrower here in the fourth. Here's the 3-2 strike, 3 call.
Cleveland Guardians pitchers Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz have been indicted for allegedly taking bribes to give gamblers advance notice of the types of pitches they would throw. It's alleged that they would intentionally toss balls instead of strikes to ensure successful bets. Both have been on paid leave since July while being investigated. If convicted, they could spend decades in prison. Heather Bosch, CBS News.
Former NFL Commissioner Paul Tagliabue has died. He was elected into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2020.
For decades, the NFL has served to unite people from all over America. You can see that here tonight. You can see it every weekend for more than 20 weeks a year.
Tagliabue died of heart failure. He was 84. Get ready to bundle up.
We're going to see readings down to near or below freezing as far south as near the Houston area. It will be in the 20s across portions of Arkansas, all the way down to just north of New Orleans, parts of Mississippi, Alabama, over towards Georgia.
This is CBS.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You could think you found your dream home online. The kitchen island looks perfect for your inner chef. The backyard, a paradise for your green thumb. And that extra room, hello walk-in closet. But here's the twist. The lot next door just got rezoned for years of construction. And this sound, yeah, you're going to be hearing a lot of that. Don't let your dream home turn into a nightmare. Work with the expertise and ethical training of a Realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors, right by you.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
A popular fast food chain has announced it's closing hundreds of its locations. CBS's Stacey Lynn has the story.
Wendy's may be back to asking this question.
Hey, where's the beef?
After the CEO announced in an earnings call last week that around 200 to 350 restaurants are set to close by the end of the year because they're consistently underperforming. He says the move will help boost sales at other locations nearby. He also recently announced a new comprehensive strategic plan to revitalize the brand with new marketing and menu items. The latest closures come a year after the chain shut down 140 locations last year. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
Health officials are investigating 13 cases of infant botulism in 10 states linked to baby formula that's being recalled. The FDA says the company By Heart is recalling 2 lots of its whole nutrition infant formula. Linda Kenyon, CBS News.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
For tonight, rain showers give way to snow showers, and any heavier snow shower late could make for some slippery roads and reduction in visibility, low at 30 degrees. Snow showers tomorrow, breezy and colder, high 35. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Matt Benz, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
All right, final hour, bonus hour. Going back to George. George, finish your point, please, sir.
Just talking about this, what could have been, and I don't know, I'm getting really disillusioned. But as far as I know, there's no black and white answer.
So let me ask you this, George. What would get you back to being inspired versus being disillusioned? What type of things would you need to see in office that would make you feel more confident about where we were going?
You mentioned a couple things that I saw almost 35 years ago with Clinton. The word was guarded optimism. Seeing someone younger that came in, and I'm going to be 69, so it's my perspective now. But to see Clinton come in, and I think he was the youngest to come into the office. I met him in McKeesport. I'm actually driving through McKeesport right now, just thinking and reflecting back. When you talked about Obama playing hoops with certain guys, and Clinton playing saxophone, there was a degree of coolness, swag that went along, but everyone kind of bottomed out, man. It's like it's human nature. And that's why my main thing really is I'm into my dogs. I train dogs. They are my real peace, honestly. And I've really kind of given up on the human race. I vote. I do vote. And I almost did not vote this time, but I did. And I was pretty victorious. But it's like meet the new boss, same as the old boss.
Yeah, but you know what? At least you can't be giving up on the human race completely because you continuously not give up on talk radio because you call me often, and I appreciate you doing that.
Thank you very much. I do. I work with kids, too. And I'm not down on them either. I'm just down on the big picture, it seems.
Well, like I said, and so your homework assignment, I appreciate your call as always, George. Your homework assignment is to come back to me next week when you hear me on air. Not tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm on the Big K Morning Show from 8 to 9 a.m. with Larry Richard. That's just him and I talking. But the next time I'm on my show, 2 to 5, come on and tell me some things that can get you from disillusioned to back to inspired. Very specific things that people in leadership can do. I'm curious. That's your homework assignment for the week. Carry on. Get to McKeesport safely. Back to the phones, 866-391-1020. Dave in San Francisco, you're on KDK.
Oh, hey, Lenny. Yeah, boy, if I had a single politician that was going to inspire me, that would be one that would be able to put climate change back into the budget, because we're really facing some dire emergencies. And the fact that they've taken climate change out of the budget, that Trump and the GOP have, they've basically destroyed the evidence of pollution. And so the big polluters love this guy, because all of a sudden the money that they had to put into special contractual obligations to deal with cleanups, all of a sudden that money gets freed up. And if I was to be inspired by any politician, climate change back in the budget.
Okay.
Did you hear the other day what Elon is going to get a package of
trillion
dollars, from Tesla. Now, he just about ruined the country, or the company. Where's that money coming from?
Well, it's an incentive package. He doesn't have it, and to my understanding, it's incentive laden. He has to do certain things to get that, which would then make the argument that, well, they would get it by way of their profits and things along those lines. It'd be over a course of time. It's not like he's going to get $1 trillion right up front. I think it's over like a certain amount of years, et cetera. But yes, I did hear about the package.
Right, but see, you had an earlier caller, and he was talking about the tax rates didn't really go down, or the taxes on the rich didn't really go down. He's sort of right, because in Trump 1, 5.
Dave, call back. I didn't do anything to that. Call back, Dave. That's the second time we've had that, so I don't know if there's storms in the area or what, but I apologize, Dave, just like Michael earlier in Wexford. See my hands if you're on the live stream. If you're not on the live stream and it's radio, just envision me waving my hands in front of a camera to show you that I didn't hang up on you. And just make it true, because I did not. Either one of you all. Back to the phone. Cynthia in Florida, you're on KDK.
Hey, man, it's storming here, so you might hear the rain because I'm sitting outside. I was listening to George. I am thrilled that Ma'am Danny won in New York after all of the abuse and the lies that they told him about him, and they're scared of him because he's a socialist. So to anybody that still supports Trump, I read an old article, back in August, about him wanting to privatize U.S. corporations. So I want to know how his
the chip deal, the whole thing with the computer chips, the microchips. U.S. Steel with the golden option and all that. That's all that is. And by the way, to your point, Cynthia, there were conservatives, people such as Rand Paul, that was like, this isn't what we do in America. And I was one of those people as well that said the same exact thing. You can't, and this is why, when I talk about the conservative movement, when people try to talk about Trump as a Republican, as a conservative, I always throw out air quotes, because he has not been a conservative. He does not. He does not adjudicate law like a conservative, and he does not administer the government like a conservative. So there's two aspects of that. Because number one, if you look at a conservative, and I want to break this down for just a second, because I know it sounded like I misspoke earlier in the show with adjudicate and administer. But adjudicating law, if you think about this is an administration over the course of 2025 that has been attacking due process. Conservatives, when they adjudicate based on law, they look at the Constitution, they look at the laws and the statutes, and then from there, there's due process with those laws as the guidelines. It's not really what transpires here, from everything from boats in the Pacific Ocean all the way to people with ICE. Now, when it comes to administering government, it's the same thing. Everything from tariffs to how we view spending, how we do this retribution with our allies and our frenemies when it comes to geoeconomic matters. That's not the way a conservative looks at that and administers, whether it's national or foreign affairs. When it comes to those type of items, they're not adjudicated the same way, or they're not administered the same way.
Well, my last three things. If he was somebody I could trust, and the wealth of these companies was truly to benefit us, I can't say I would object to it. Secondly, I can't wait to hear what the Supreme Court says about the tariffs, because Trump was supposed to be putting that money, that's what he said, in the sovereign wealth fund, which is really his fund and his cronies. But then he's saying, oh, we're going to give it to each citizen. Well, how far is that money going to go, and who can afford that?
Well, the thing that's going to happen with that, Cynthia, Cynthia, is going to be simply this. I think the Supreme Court's going to come back and say, you have a lot of powers, Mr. President, and the presidency does afford the individual holding that office a lot of powers. But you don't just get to willy-nilly make up a national emergency. I mean, literally, there was an article that came out, and there's something that was said that kind of flew underneath the radar, where there was a floated idea of, well, you know what, with these elections, the way they played out on Tuesday, we're going to have to look at this. This might be a national emergency based on how these elections played out. No. You losing elections is not a national emergency. So, again, the way the phraseology has been used publicly, I think the Supreme Court's going to come back and say, if this were a true national emergency, a war that we were at, and then even if the Trump administration came back and said, well, there is a war. You said that Portland, Oregon was under siege, Mr. President.
Oh, my goodness.
So you can't get to use those terms the way you want.
One last thing. And I've been thinking about this. He is hoping for violence in the streets so he can declare an emergency, and then he can invoke the Insurrection Act. I mean, we're watching this play out. It's ridiculous. But one other thing, too, about the SNAP fund. As I read this, it said they were being asked to give up money from the contingency fund that's not there. Where'd the money go?
Good question, because they said the money was there.
That's right. Well, everything I'm reading, it says, it's not there. Where is it?
What they're saying is,
upside down.
What they're saying was, the arguments that I've heard consistently is that the irony is the president, under Article 1 authorities for Congress, does not have the ability to just spend that money. It's the purview of Congress, and right now the government shut down and Congress hasn't been able to pass anything. Now, the irony of that, of course, is...
We don't know what DOJ has done with everything either. I don't trust any of these people at this point. I want a forensic accountant on all of them. Okay. I'll let some people get on. Thanks, Lenny.
All right, Cynthia, I appreciate your phone call. Ironically, and I'll get back to this after the break, Cynthia brings up the Supreme Court, and there's something that may transpire with this court based on the tariffs, more than just one, tariffs decision that might be rather historic, more than just about economic policy. I'll talk about that. The phone lines are still open for the next 45 minutes. 866-391-1020. Bonus hour with me, Lenny McAllister, on another not sunny Sunday, but still a Sunday nonetheless. You and I together on News Radio KDKA.
Your source for the AccuWeather forecast. Hear it on News Radio KDKA.
Larry Richard with Andy Amrine from EV True Value to talk about Sniper.
Sniper, that's your hospital-grade disinfectant, Larry. And yes, it's germ season. You need that bottle of Sniper, whether you want the travel size bottle that's TSA approved. You could put it in your purse, put it in your travel bag, take it with you. Or we got the quarts or the gallons for that big job on it. It's your true hospital-grade disinfectant, kills all germs.
Safe around kids and pets. Go to disinfectwithsniper.com or available at participating True Value hardware stores.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
The KDKA radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at kennyross.com.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Now, I don't want to sit here and really get too much into the weeds and analysis of what transpired on Tuesday night. But for all the bashing and gnashing of teeth of the Democratic Party over the last couple of years, and rightfully earned, don't get me wrong, if you really want to know where the Republican brand is right now, in places where it shouldn't be as competitive. The first one, not so much. Up in Maine, there was a Democrat that won that had been convicted of manslaughter earlier, not 20 years earlier, but convicted of manslaughter, and she won. And I think there was one or two Republicans on the ballot. It was a local city council election. And the long and short of that story, if you look it up, was her and her brother got into it with a Canadian tourist. They're Native American, apparently. And the tourist said something out of turn, called her a slur. The brother and the dude got into it, became physical. The victim got beat down, and they poured sand down his throat. So because of the fight, the extenuating circumstances, the suffocation, the cruelty of death, they both spent time in jail. She ends up winning a city-wide election against small city in Maine, but she won. There are people that would say, wow, if a Democrat with that on her record can win when there were other candidates, either A, how far gone is the Democrat Party gone, and the other side of it is, okay, what's the Republican brand really looking like? Here's a better example. In Virginia, one of the AG candidates, the Democrat, was literally caught advocating for Republican family members, Republican elected officials and their family members, that they wouldn't learn lessons about what people are going through until their family members were shot, and started advocating, in essence, that they be shot so that they could finally learn what's going on. Those text messages were put out there, and it seemed like it was going to bury this dude's campaign. He's the next Attorney General of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Now, you got to understand, this is the same Virginia that had Ken Cuccinelli as their Attorney General not that long ago. Glenn Youngkin is still their governor. And there was a blue wave that went across Virginia. They picked up seats in the House of Delegates and an AG race that they had no business winning. and a lieutenant governor's race where it's the first Muslim American that's going to be a lieutenant governor in the Commonwealth of Virginia, as well as the first female governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia. All blue. So not to break down the politics of it all, but there's an argument to be made that for all the, again, well-deserved bashing of the Democrats with their branding, with their messaging, with their actions, with their campaigning, there's something to be said about, okay, this should not have transpired on Tuesday night to the level that it did, with the margins that were there. Something's askew for the Republicans as a result of that. 866-391-1020. Gary in Georgia. You're on KDK.
Hi, Lenny. Thank you. How are you? How you been?
I'm doing well, child of God. How are you?
Yeah, glad to be alive. Glad to be alive, and a lot of people hurting out there.
I feel you. What's on your mind?
I just have another. I have the same. I'm just going to a quick observation. Again, the same. I think we've had basically a culture. You know, I've talked about this before. Obviously, a culture breakdown, if you will. That's before now. It's maintained our democracy, but I think we've had a clear breakdown. And I describe it like this: I think we declared bankruptcy, and we're in receivership. You know, what do you think?
Well, the problem, who would step in after that? If that were, proverbially speaking, if that were the case, who steps in? Who resurrects the company?
We must elect people that'll change the priorities and maintain our democracy as we know it, as we knew it.
What type of what are the qualities of an individual that would do that to you, Gary? I mean, for you, who does that? What does that individual look like, sound like, act like? What are their priorities? What do you want?
Like me. Now you want to really laugh now? Like me and you.
I'll take that. I know where your heart is. I know where my heart is.
Yeah, I would say above all, if I had to say one quality, I mean, to elect somebody, the first quality I have to look at, it'd have to be integrity that's beyond reproach. That's above, and that's what I'd have to look at. And it's hard to find, I guess.
Do voters still want that, Gary? That's the question, because it doesn't seem as though if you look at the people that folks are electing, it doesn't seem as though that's really not only is it not at the top of the list, it doesn't even seem like it's on the list. People want somebody that's going to fight for them, not necessarily somebody with integrity fighting for them.
Well, you're talking about reality here, aren't you? The current reality. You make a good point. In closing, I would just say this. I'm almost speechless, and I'm not exaggerating. I would say I'm going to take a note from a song many years ago, and in that song, it says this: "It's a Barnum and Bailey world, just as phony as it can be."
Gary, I appreciate your phone call. I'm going to give you the same homework assignment I gave George. When you call here next week, I need some examples of what you would want in a new set of leaders that would move you from disillusionment to inspiration. And I will remind you, and I know you know this, both of you, because you both study history, you both remember aspects of history. We have gone through more than enough portions of time in our American history, going on birthday 250, where the disillusionment was real and entrenched, and people thought America's best days were behind them. You know, all of us, for the most part, were alive during the 1970s. We talk about the music, we talk about the plaid suits, we talk about disco. We don't talk about the gas lines. We don't talk about the OPEC crisis. We don't talk about the crisis in confidence. We don't talk about the president being impeached. We don't talk about, detente. We don't talk about, we do here in Pittsburgh, the beginning of the end of the steel dominance of the United States throughout the world. There were many, many things. Bombings at bus stations, at airports, airplanes being hijacked. There was plenty to be disillusioned about. And by 1984, one presidential candidate won 49 states because the country was that much back on track. Now, again, I remind people, 1968, even if you want to say 1963, 64, 65, to 84, 85, that's 20 years of a lot of trauma and a lot of depression, a lot of losses, a lot of scars. But we did get through it. I genuinely think we're going to get through it again. But it does take some actions to go from disillusionment to inspiration. So again, I ask you two to do that. You've kind of given me some homework for myself as well. Bottom of the hour news. Dave's back on the line. Lines will be open for others as well. 866-391-1020. Coming back on News Radio KDKA.
Did you know you can spend your PA taxes to fund a scholarship for a child in need and get a 90% tax credit refund? Through Blocks, that's BLOCS, you can direct your state tax liability, fund a scholarship, direct it to the tuition-based school of your choice, and receive a 90% refund on the donated amount. It's a simple process, and you can fund a scholarship that will change a child's life. Tax credit slots are filling up fast, and you must make your commitment by December 23rd. Head to BLOCS.org now.
Experience casino like never before at Bet365. Spin your way through your favorite games. Check out our awesome table games and face off against a real live dealer. And play exclusive games that you simply can't play anywhere else. New Bet365 players get a 100% deposit match bonus up to $1,000 plus spins. Download the app and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically present in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. T&Cs apply.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
When you call yourself the voice of Pittsburgh, you have to know when to not talk. Sometimes you just need to be the ears of Pittsburgh. Just listen. Listen to what you have to say. These are complicated and uncertain times, but when you need us, we are here for you, and we're listening. A trusted source that you can count on to be here. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
CBS News Brief. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy tells Fox News flight cancellations are necessary during this government shutdown.
4% today, it's going to go to 6% on Tuesday, and by Friday it's going to be at 10%. That's what we think is appropriate to keep the flying public out of harm's way.
Confusion over food stamps after the Trump administration ordered states to undo any steps to send full benefits. Jeff Smith is with the North Texas Food Bank.
I think we're equipped to kind of serve the community short term, but no food bank is prepared to do this long term. We're just not set up to serve those large numbers of people without the community support.
Get ready for a cold snap.
We're getting some of the coldest air of the season, not just pouring into those places that normally would be cool or chilly, but we've got that spilling all the way down for the eastern half of the country as far south as Florida.
That's CBS News meteorologist Andrew Kozak. CBS News Brief. I'm Linda Kenyon.
Bet365 is paying out before the final whistle.
Check out Bet365's unrivaled early payout offer. When you bet on the team to win and they take a 17-point lead, you get paid no matter the final score. Forget the final whistle and start counting that cash. Hold up. You get early payout on parlays, too.
Download the app and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Pennsylvania. TNC Supply.
Lock in amazing fall deals for your new roof with Home Genius Exteriors. Get 50% off roofing materials, plus 0% APR and no payments till 2027. And for a limited time, get free attic insulation. Call Home Genius Exteriors now at 855-U-R-GENIUS to schedule your free roof and attic inspection. That's 855, the letter U, the letter R, Genius. Home Genius Exteriors, the genius choice in roofing. See website for details.
Here's the latest from the KDKA Community Message Board.
Imagine growing up without seeing a ball game, visiting a museum, or exploring a zoo. For thousands of kids in our community, the cost of admission makes these experiences impossible. Tickets for Kids changes that, donating tickets to under-resourced youth through schools and social service agencies. Learn more at ticketsforkids.org.
Stay in the heart of Pittsburgh at the Landing Hotel at Rivers Casino, located steps away from Acroshore Stadium, PNC Park, and the nightlife of the North Shore. They're the perfect spot for your entertainment needs. Visit thelandinghotelpgh.com to book your stay today. Looking for an incredible Pittsburgh fresh-made hoagie? Visit Tim's Corner Market in Beachview. Fresh house-made bread stacked high with the finest meats and premium toppings and packed with Pittsburgh flavor at Tim's Corner Market on Broadway Avenue in Beachview.
Details at KDKARadio.com.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Nobody had to tell your grandparents not to drive while using their typewriters. Why should it be any different for us kids and our cell phones? Distracted driving was the cause of more than 3,000 deaths in 2022. Come on, we're smarter than this. Let's put down the phones and focus on the roads. Drive safe, everybody.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
For tonight, rain showers give way to snow showers, and any heavier snow shower lake could make for some slippery roads and reduction in visibility, low at 30 degrees. Snow showers tomorrow, breezy and colder, high 35. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Matt Benz, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
All right, looking forward to getting back on Monday. We'll talk a whole lot about everything that happened over the weekend. Colin Dunlap, 2 to 6 Monday. See you then.
All right, going back to the phone lines, 866-391-1020. Finalizing the last half an hour, Lenny McAllister, you and I together here on the award-winning news radio, KDKA. Dave, you're back. Don't know what happened, but you're back on KDKA.
Oh, gosh, it could have been anything. The meteorite that just fell in Tucson could have been that. But, no, I was trying to describe the ugly bill that Trump put together 7-8 years ago, 2017 it was, and that one gave permanent tax cuts to corporations and brought it down to 21%. So it from 39% or something like that, and he pretended that the little guy would also get a tax cut, but he didn't tell him that tax cut would end in 5 years, and then 5 years later, of course, that would be in Biden's term, and he'd be able to blame Biden for raising taxes on him. So they wrote a bill that was
but hold on. You're playing. Your timelines are messed up. He wrote it, yes, and even if it expired in 5 years, do you think Donald Trump expected to lose the second election?
Well, that's a good point. And then he'd give the super rich another big fat tax break, and then the little guy, maybe they'd get the same one. Who knows what? But you remember the end of his first term, he had already brought America's deficit up to be the biggest deficit of any president ever. And so by giving away the store in the first weeks that he was in office in 2017, all of a sudden...
It wasn't in the first weeks. When did it get passed?
2017.
What year? What part of the year?
Well, he got inaugurated in January of 2017, and I guess he got passed later that year.
Yeah, towards the very end of the year, in large part because he was fighting with Republicans to get it passed, which is why Paul Ryan eventually left Congress, because he was fighting with Paul Ryan with how the numbers would look, and it ended up being something that didn't get passed until December. They ended up giving bonuses to some of the employees, which gave some goodwill at the end of 2017 going into 2018 when it came to the passage of the bill. But again, even in 2018 and 2019, which is something I said to Michael in Wexford, with the tax cuts also came tariff wars. So unlike the argument that people try to make in regards to the economy with Reagan after 83, that didn't transpire the same way with Trump even in 18 and 19 when it came to job growth, because there was also us fighting with our allies and frenemies when it came to tariffs.
Right, yeah, he was doing the same stupid thing back then with tariffs, making enemies and driving away America's customers.
Yes, and then COVID cut. I don't know what happened there, Dave. Again, I was agreeing with your point, and your line dropped. So I don't know what's going on. I apologize that happened to you. I apologize to the listeners that happened to them. Seems to be happening once or twice, but 866-391-1020. I will take your phone calls still and hope that it doesn't get dropped. Look, I had a very heartfelt, direct, and personal conversation before I got on the air today with a federal worker. And again, it's very easy, and let me say this. It's very easy for people to watch these stories on CNN and MSNBC. You're not going to see a whole lot of them on Newsmax or Fox News per se, talking about the impact of federal workers not having their jobs. And as a former television producer, I kind of get it. I know what they do. I didn't necessarily do it as much, but I know what they do at that level. We need stories. We need to show the impact. We need to bring the what's in it for the viewer home to the viewer. We need to make it very clear, very, very obvious. But for every opportunity to see that, you have to also genuinely have an opportunity to understand the humanity of what's going on, the impact of what's going on. When you hear about these air traffic controllers, and I had a conversation with another individual that I love very much, that was trying to make the case of, you're letting down country when you don't go to work, when you work for the FAA and you're an air traffic controller. I had to bring up the example. Okay, you can make, you can make, let's say, $200,000 a year at a job, and you love that job, and then all of a sudden it stops paying you $200,000 a year. Now, that money's coming eventually, but right now it's gone from $200,000 a year to zero. Do you go to that job where it's eventually coming, but you don't know when, and now it's going on weeks, and it's at zero? Or do you go make $100,000 a year, which is 50% less, but it's $100,000 a year? It's $80,000 a year. It's 60% less, but it's $80,000 a year. Do you eschew that for duty? Are they going to pause your mortgage? Are they going to pause your utility bills? You still got to eat. What tuitions may be in your household if you're sending kids to college or to public and, to private and parochial high schools. The humanity of what's going down with a government shutdown is the reason why there should never be a government shutdown. And I continuously talk about this, and this is why I blame both sides. Both sides have forgotten that the system was created for ongoing compromise where frenemies, politically, are never enemies when it comes to doing the people's work. The system is created to have checks and balances to make sure everything goes smoothly, or as smoothly as possible, instead of let's just dominate the numbers and beat people up. If we don't have enough numbers for the midterms, we're just going to go re-gerrymander the maps. By the way, we saw what happened in Texas. California had a big win on Tuesday. They took a risk, and it worked for them. Now, with that said, Indiana, North Carolina, Ohio apparently is, I hear, apparently they're looking to do this. They're all like, hold my beer. The system's not created to do what we're doing. Nobody cares anymore. Generally speaking, I'm not saying nobody out of 335 million people don't care, but you get my point. Dave, one more time. You're on KDK.
Man, this is odd, Lenny. Yeah, I guess I was in the point talking about driving away customers with tariffs in Trump's world, and he is not a businessman, because a businessman knows the customer is always right, and you don't drive away customers. And the idea that even as a hotelier, the customer is always right. And the idea that he would basically have massive apartments where he would create all sorts of problems for the tenants is not a good landlord. So my bigger picture and the real purpose of calling was to talk about the idea of local currencies. Donald Trump doesn't have loyalty to America. He's been known as a currency speculator forever. 40, 50 years. His dad was probably doing it. When he was hanging around with Roy Cohn, he was probably doing it, where he would end up with piles of francs and pounds and lira and whatnot, and he would be able to play games with the value of the currency in order to make some extra profit on it. You praise the country for a while, and you curse the country for a while, up and down, for the value of a whole nation is based on slander or praise. And this has been a problem long before World War I, and World War I was exacerbated by currency speculators that drove the war on for years, extra years, because they were basically slandering and praising countries as if it was a betting game, and lives were lost.
Okay, but monetize it for me, Dave, before I have to let you go.
Yeah. So at the beginning of his term, just before he got inaugurated, he decided to come up with the strategic Bitcoin reserve, where he captures the gold of America, and he's going to invest in Bitcoin to balance the nation's economy. Now, it was a stupid idea at the first, and almost everybody that ever hears about it knows it's a stupid idea, but he's continued with it. And if you go to the White House press office and look up Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, it still exists. So he has no loyalty to the U.S. dollar. He only has loyalty to the nearest type of currency that he's playing with at that moment. And for people to pretend that this inflation is some sort of a reality, no, it's based upon con artists that are praising and cursing nations on a regular basis just to get the margin.
But and Dave, I got to let you go. I'm going to a break. It's more than that. It's also based, quite honestly, on the policies he's put into place, the tariff policies he's put into place. I'm a free market guy, but I'm going to bully my way into getting what I want in the economy perspective. It's just not the way to lead. And again, this goes back to what I said previously. You cannot run government like you run a business, because you cannot fire citizens. And because of what a government has to do on so many different levels, you cannot dictate terms the same way as you can in a business. In a business, you dictate a term. This is our price. This is our product. This is our quality. This is the speed to market that we have. Like it or not like it. Okay, you don't like it? I get a choice. I can shrink my audience, my consumer base, and then deal with the consequences, or I can adjust. When you're a government, especially with a nation as large as the United States and with the large influence of the United States, you don't have that same leeway. You're constantly in flux, constantly taking in information. And the values aren't the same. The values are not driven just by what my stakeholders want from an economic profit margin standpoint. Stakeholders sometimes have no economic value, but they hold things from a power perspective that means so much more than just what I can put into a stock number. And that matters when it comes to how you lead and work with people. All right, I'm wrapping up the show after this on News Radio KDKA.
When you need to know, depend on the news leader. At home, in your car, or at work. The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM, AM 1020, and KDKARadio.com.
I'm with Joe Potocznik, JP Roofing and Siding. Congratulations, Joe. Triple Crown winner from Owens Corning.
Yes, Larry. We are proud to announce that we are recognized for service excellence, product excellence, and MVP based on marketing leadership and customer service.
Call Joe and his team. You'll get the best of the best. Get a free estimate for roof and siding replacements. Call the roofing replacement experts at JP Roofing and Siding, 412-829-7711. Congrats, Joe.
Thank you, Larry.
Fall in Pittsburgh. And does Rhino Shield do a business? Just ask business owner Mike.
I was watching TV one night and saw the Rhino Shield ad, and I thought, well, if they can do a house, they can probably do a building.
And remember, Rhino Shield's not pain, it's better.
So they came out and they gave me a price, showed me how the Rhino works, how it lasts, and how the guarantee works.
Pittsburgh, right now, you can have the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off and 0% financing for 12 months.
They started on the building. They waited for us to leave, and they worked Saturday and Sunday so they wouldn't affect our business at all. This was the great part of it. I came back Sunday night, and you couldn't even tell they were here. There was no paint on the ground. They did a fantastic job.
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl. Go Rhino.
Hey, don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20. And we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better. Because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, E-T-H-O-S, ethos.com/life.
The Village at St. Barnabas, the perfect place for mom.
Tune in to 1020 KDKA Radio for Medical Frontiers with Dr. Gerald Pfeiffer from the Allegheny Health Network every Monday from 7 to 8 p.m. Dr. Pfeiffer and his special guests will cover the information that you want to know about your health and the latest trends in medicine.
You could think you found your dream home online. The kitchen island looks perfect for your inner chef. The backyard, a paradise for your green thumb. And that extra room, hello walk-in closet. But here's the twist. The lot next door just got rezoned for years of construction. And this sound, yeah, you're going to be hearing a lot of that. Don't let your dream home turn into a nightmare. Work with the expertise and ethical training of a Realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors, right by you.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
When you enter a place of business, you're owed a legal duty that the place of business is safe for you to shop in. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you suffered an injury at a place of business, our duty is to protect you after that harm. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Only 1 in 5 people with disabilities, including those with autism, are employed, despite many having the skill set and desire to work.
Maybe it's because employers don't know what kind of jobs they can do?
Okay, try me.
What about a programmer?
That is a job for someone with autism.
What about a teacher?
That is a job for someone with autism.
Oh, how about a healthcare worker?
Yes, those are all jobs for someone with autism. The truth is, qualified people with autism can do a lot of different jobs, but often get overlooked due to outdated stigmas and beliefs. Businesses value diversity, but sometimes don't recognize the unique strengths and abilities of the autism community. Introducing WIN, the Workplace Inclusion Now program by Autism Speaks. We help businesses lead the way in inclusive hiring.
Ooh, what about a ranch hand?
Yeah! Sure, that's a job for someone with autism too. To learn more, go to autismspeaks.org/win. That's autismspeaks.org/win.
You wanted to be cool, which led you to smoking, which led to a pack a day. Then you met that special someone, which led to starting a life with them, which led to wanting to live longer, which led to quitting. Then you heard you may be at risk for lung cancer, which led you to getting a low-dose CT scan. If you smoked, get scanned. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
SchultzFord.com, 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 SchultzFord.com.
Everything you need, every time you listen. 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
As always, I enjoy spending time with Mike, working with me as a team. I enjoy taking your phone calls at 866-391-1020. I enjoy being here at News Radio KDKA. What does my week look like? Well, the podcast, Beyond Bias with Leon and Lenny, should be dropping within a week. First episode, we have several that are coming out. First episode should be coming out next week. I'll be on the Big K Morning Show, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. tomorrow morning with Larry Richard and the team here. So that will be fun as always. I will be back next Sunday, 2 to 5, to spend more time with you as always. This past week included everything from doing radio, doing my show on Sunday, being on with Larry on Monday, also being in Washington, D.C. with the American Consumer Institute, where I am a board member there. The work that they're doing, obviously, looking at the affordability for Americans at this time. Hat tip to that organization, one of my mentees, Tirza Duran, who is the new president and CEO. Congratulations to her. Basically spending time thinking about where we need to be, what we can do, how to get it done. I'll be working with educators across the country as well, in particular here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, while we still have a budget crisis, as we well know, and how that's further impacting everybody from students to businesses and local municipalities. We learned anything from this election. On Tuesday, it's people are frustrated. They're desperate for answers. What I would tell the people that voted, and even the people that didn't vote, hold people accountable for those answers. And not just